Good evening, football fans, and welcome to our very special 2025 NFL Draft Recap Edition of 3 and Out right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Good evening, everybody, football fans and all sports fans who even like football just a little bit. Just in case you've been under a rock under the last couple of days, or over the last, couple of days, well, guess what? The NFL Draft just occurred. We have all 7 rounds completed, and all 32 teams have selected the players that they're going to ride with, at least for the moment, because them undrafted free agents, they're a thing, and some of them turn out to be pretty damn good. With that said, the draft has completed, so we are already in the phases, all right? The combine, the NFL New Year and free agency. The draft has now concluded, and we are marching on now into mandatory rookie training camp, and of course, those OTAs in the summer. You have 3 and Out, 8 divisions in 8 days right here on this show, and guess what? Preseason time, and we're on to a brand new season. Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. We are ready, man. Football season. I know, it seems like it's so far away, but at the same exact time, well, guess what? It's really not. My goodness, just to think we are a few months away from kicking this thing off for real. Well, last night, the night before, and well, today, a bunch of young men's dreams came true. And well, it's up to them now what they do with it. My goodness, this had more drama than a freaking 90s soap opera at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, all right? Because this was insane. The intensity of the drama with all of that first round. Some guys who fell to the second that were like, excuse me, how did that happen? Well, they did. Obviously the elephant in the room, but you did get picked, of course, Shedeur Sanders, and, well, plenty more. Who picked who may have been pretty smart, who made some head-scratching decisions. We got it all tonight. It's going to be a long one. Grab yourself something delicious to drink and to eat, because we have ourselves a fun episode of 3 and Out coming on up. I'm joined by the crew tonight. You're going to see who they are in just a few minutes. Get ready, y'all. It's going to be a fun one. Let's do this. You are now tuned in live to our very special draft recap edition of 3 and Out right here on IE Sports Radio. We're directed for all that sports.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
I caught you nodding your head. You already know, y'all. It's time to get wild. It's time to have a little bit of fun. And it's about that time to talk some goddamn draft because, well, there's nothing better to talk about. Look, I'm not throwing no shade on the NBA or like the greatest sport ever, the NHL playoffs. I'm sorry. I've become such a huge hockey fan over the years. But I will tell you, okay. Football's number one. We'll say that. But hockey's number. Can we just add fighting in football? Like, I'm sorry. I'm too hostile, I guess. I'm sorry. There's an Italian sport. Okay, we won't get into that. But oh my gosh, it's amazing. Anyway, yeah, we could add fighting in football. That'd be great. Regardless, I know everyone's gonna hate me now. Sorry, but it's fun. Regardless, there's nothing more important at the moment, at least. There's games going on in other sports, but the NFL draft has concluded. And well, guys, we are here to get with it and to talk all about every single team's picks. Well, we thought about it, recap it all. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure to do all this stuff down here. Follow us on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Subscribe, subscribe, share all that good stuff. We appreciate you all. Trust me, we are worth it. You just got to, show us some love, man. We're worth every penny. All right, so head on over. Make sure you subscribe. Be a part of us. Make sure you jump in. And, well, hey, every single time you tune in, just know We appreciate you, and thank you all for being a part of it. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and jump on over to my boys, man, because they're in the chat and they're ready to, well, they're in the queue here, and they're waiting to jump on in and get ready to talk about this draft. So with that said, man, welcome. And of course, he is, as I always say, our Mel Kiper. He likes to throw in, but with better hair. He is the host of Let's Whine About DMV Sports, and of course, the editor of the IE Sports Radio blog, Mr. Mike Pat. We also have Mr. The guy who has seriously exploded on our platform over the last year. The man retired, and well, he just picked up another career after this. The host of the Yinza Report here on IE Sports Radio and gigantic Steelers fan, Mr. Ralph Calise, and of course, bringing aboard our boy, man. He is the host of our New York / New Jersey / basically anything in that freaking area show because he covers everything. And the guy is, well, I forgot this. Sorry about this, guys. Mike Pat and this guy are also co-hosts on our baseball show. Okay. The Bullpen Bulletin. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ricky K. Let's bring each one of these guys aboard. Give them applause, man. Show them some love. How you guys doing tonight, man? Thank you for joining me.
What's up, Larry? Hello, Ricky. Hello, Mike. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good, Ralph. Good evening, team.
What's up, guys? At least we're all not busts on draft day. Hopefully, none of the players end up as busts on draft day.
There you go.
Right. That's like the last thing we. I mean, hey, there's got to be a Bo Callahan somewhere, right? Just kidding. I feel like we had some kind of a similar story to that this year. Anyway, before we crack any scars open or anything here, any scabs picking them off or anything, guys, again, thank you for being here. We are going to have ourselves some fun tonight, man. This is definitely a great show. We always have fun doing the pre and the post show, picking who we think for the first round, talking about every pick, of course, into this show. Let's get to it, man. So first things first. Okay, well, before we do any of that, I just want to say first rounds. Okay, obviously we're going to go through every single team, but you guys already heard, our thoughts at least. Mr. Ralph Calise, myself, and Teran, at least, we gave you our picks and who we thought a couple nights ago. And then we recapped the other day, which was pretty fun, of course. So that was what we talked about, the recap of the first round. However, okay, these two guys down here have not done that. So we're going to kind of go around the board real fast, talk about the first round, okay, thoughts and all that good stuff. A few minutes per, why not? Have some fun. We're all getting settled in here. All right, so we'll go ahead and last time we kind of went this way, clockwise, so I guess we'll counter today, except for it'll end on me because it was short, sweet, and to the point, this one. But I want these guys to go ahead and elaborate. So Ricky K, we'll start with you, man. Your thoughts on the first round of this draft?
Well, I think obviously the first round, we all thought the intrigue would be at 3 with the Giants, end up being at 2 because the Jacksonville Jaguars all of a sudden feel that they're a player away by trying to get Travis Hunter, which I'm a huge fan of Travis Hunter, but risking giving up your first rounder next year, which could be a top 10 pick, I just don't understand that. And I give the Browns at least credit for realizing it and trying to get 2 first in the next year when it's a better class. I think when you look at this first round as a whole, obviously SEC and Big Ten stand out. It's just the way it is right now in college football. That's where the best players are going. You kind of respect that, and you go from there. I think not a surprise with 2 quarterbacks going. I think you were going to have 2 regardless. It was just going to be which one was the second one, which I'm sure we'll dive into later. But there were a couple I liked. I mean, you look at – can we stop giving the Chiefs good picks at 32? I mean, they always pick last. First they get 31. They somehow get to trade back a spot to get a tackle. Like, stop giving the Chiefs everything, NFL. They already have the greatest player in the world, and you go from there. So I was confused by the Falcons. You're giving up your one. When are you an edge rusher away? I mean, it's great you fix your defensive line, which you did already, and you don't have any picks to begin with. I don't know, but the teams I was very intrigued with, besides the ones that I cover, which we'll get into later, Colts, Tyler Warren. I don't know why Warren slipped to 14. Love lands ahead of him. That's a steal for them. And I like the Amarian Hampton pick for the Chargers. I mean, you look at Jim Harbaugh. You go from J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards to Amarian Hampton and Najee Harris. That's an upgrade. And I think you kind of fit that power team. I don't know what Denver was doing at 20. Another corner. We need another corner, and we got to get Bo Nix some guys. So the Broncos could grow to regret that one. And, of course, the Ravens are the Ravens. They always end up with a great player in Malachi Stark. So, like I said, I'll get to the locals later. But my favorite pick of the round, Emeka Egbuka at 18 to Ohio State, or 19 to Ohio State, because Baker now has 3 dudes to throw the ball to. And Todd Bowles, I think, between this one and a pick we'll get into later, I think has done a good job with kind of keeping the stranglehold on the division, while the other 3 teams, we don't know what the heck they're trying to do.
Well done. Well said. Very nice there. No, I like it. I agree with a lot of that, and you'll see that in a few minutes, Ricky. But all right, so we'll head on, keep on going into that counterclockwise. All right, Mike Bat, spill it, man. What do you got for that first round for us? What do you think?
I think there was a very clear focus here in this first round on the trenches. You saw a lot of the big men going early and often. 4 offensive linemen in the top 12 picks. I don't think many of us foresaw that. 3 maybe, but 4 surely not. And then more offensive linemen going throughout. I believe 7 or 8 total. Many interior defensive linemen going earlier than we expected as well. And of course, the edge rushers going early and often as a lot of people anticipated. So I think there was a very clear focus on the trenches and building up front. The quarterbacks, I think kind of to Ricky's point, I don't think the numbers surprised us. I think the who and where was a little bit surprising. And then, of course, the big surprise, as we'll talk about here in a little bit for sure. And then kind of a run on receiver, kind of not really. There was a lot of variability with this receiver class. Some people had multiple guys in the top 15. Some people only had one guy in my mock. I only had one guy in the top 25. And it seemed to kind of be a mixture of the two. And of course, you have to acknowledge, if you want to call it a historic event, or you want to say that maybe we're in the end times with the Packers taking a receiver in the first round for the first time since 2002, that move definitely has to. I have a coworker who was born in 2004 and is a Packers fan. So he has literally not been alive to see them take a receiver in the first round. And yet here we go with them grabbing one there. I like the golden pick. I love the Tyler Warren pick to Indianapolis that Ricky mentioned. Of course, I love Malachi Starks to the Ravens. That was such a Ravens pick. And then Josh Simmons to the Chiefs was an absolute steal. So those are some of my hitters. Denver, you do know you have to score points at some point too, in order to win football games. And that, if you were to give an incomplete grade to anybody, it would be the Jaguars and the Browns. Because that trade, we won't really know its impact until next year, but certainly something that a lot of people are going to be keeping their eyes on.
Well said. Man, again, I think we're all kind of having a lot of the same deal here. Ralph, we talked about it yesterday, a couple days ago, of course, got the recap and everything, but it's all good. We're doing it again, man. So real quick, and I mean, you and I will be kind of quick, but what do you think? What do you think?
Yeah, I'll hit it quick, and I'll go along the lines of as we did the mock draft with Mike Pat. You saw consistency of all our picks like we had. It all went through in the first round, so you basically knew everybody was going to pick.
Yeah.
But I will say, I'll stick to my guns. I think the Giants had a great first round with the trade up, getting Jackson Dart. I thought that was a great move by them. And of course, Abdul Carter. They're already comparing this guy to Lawrence Taylor. I'm sure you heard about the whole number thing.
Crazy.
He wanted his number. He wouldn't give it up to him. So there you go. I actually like the Jacksonville pick. I think they went for it. They traded with the Browns. I think they got the best player in the draft, if you ask me. This kid is going to be unbelievable. And like we said the other day, Larry, I think my reach was the Saints going for that offensive tackle when they don't even really have a quarterback that we know of. And I'm gonna go to my team. I'm gonna say the Steelers at the time when they picked this kid, I was out of it because, I wanted Shaquille standards. But what the hell do I know? And this kid, I've been doing some updating on him. They got a stud here. And they really needed it. So, I'm a little bit of a homer on that pick, but like I said, I think they really did well with that pick.
They did.
Derek Harmon and of course the poor kid had a circle of life while the whole thing went on. Everybody heard that story.
Man,
he's being drafted. His mother's on life support. He got drafted. He went to the hospital, and then the next morning she passed on. So this poor kid's going through a circle of life. And like I said on my show, even if you're a fan of the Steelers, if you weren't a fan of the pick, you have to embrace it now and be a fan of this pick, because you just have to circle of life.
It's insane. I mean, I still could not believe that happened. I mean, may she rest in everlasting peace, and I hope he has a very healthy career. Even before that happened, I was wishing them all the best, but that was terrible. But yeah, so guys, we're very, very similar with a lot of things. I mean, again, I'm just going to go with the people who I thought. It's kind of funny earlier. So before the show, obviously, you guys know in the YouTube video that was an hour long the other day, obviously we found that it's impossible to do a all 32 teams here, or at least 32 picks. We found it's impossible to do all that within 20 minutes with about a minute per person. Yeah, impossible. But, okay, mathematically impossible. Regardless, look, I did have Mike and I were talking before the show, and it's kind of funny. True, got a point. Can't have all those winners and losers that I had, but I will tell you, maybe I'll just go with like and dislike for damn sure. For some of these, obviously, you guys know that I had a lot of those feelings. But the Falcons, gosh damn it, the Falcons were just incredible. Why not? Defense. They've learned that if they don't score, we don't lose. So yeah, I mean, the two picks they got, my gosh, Walker and Pierce, amazing. The Ravens, what a Ravens pick. I mean, Starks. Oh, it was yes, he plays like a Raven, right? You gotta love it. You were hearing that all too much. Loveland, I don't care. I get it. Warren, whatever. They didn't get it, whatever. Look, that was a great pick to me, because regardless, it was going to be one of those two guys. I can even throw the Colts in here. Loved it. Those two picks were amazing for those two offenses. Dallas Cowboys, Tyler Booker, you now have no excuse, Dak. That's it. How can you put the walls of Troy in front of somebody and still lose? We'll find out. I guess that's the Cowboys to answer, right? The Kansas City Chiefs, again, can we please, you're totally right, Ricky. Can we please stop giving them good players? Well, guess what? They did it, and here we go again. Gosh damn it. But they did a great job there. And the Giants, again, they're so bad to where nothing they could do was wrong. I mean, they could have drafted a janitor to clean the, whatever section, and they would have still won, because they're terrible in every freaking facet. So yes, that was great. The picks, the four that I just was like, really, I know I got some heat for the Panthers pick. Look, I like Teteroa. I like him a lot. You probably could have done something a little bit easy. I know you're trying to help Bryce, but maybe try to help him stay upright before you draft anybody to get him the ball to. I'm sorry. The Broncos, we all agreed. What the hell is wrong with you guys? Like, cool, you got a corner, but aren't you going to go all in with Knicks and you're not going to protect him? Okay, cool. Anyway, the Browns. Why would you do that? You had Travis Hunter right here. Are you stupid? Oh, it's the Browns. And then, of course, the Dolphins. To me, I like Kenneth. I like him. Maybe I know they're trying to fill the gap that Wilkins left, but I don't know. They probably could have addressed some other positions. So anyway, just my thoughts. Again, all of our thoughts really quick there on the first round. And there it is, you guys. So here we go. Tonight's going to be some fun stuff. And we're going to go ahead and jump right on into the dang thing and talk about these picks. All right. So let's get it. Actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm putting the cart before the horse here. Okay. So again, those were, I guess, mine. All right. So there you have it. Okay. You heard all of my biggest winners and losers, or at least my favorites, my likes and dislikes there of that first round. And well, those are what I was kind of aiming for. Again, my winners are the ones that I like: the Falcons, Ravens, Bears, Cowboys, the Colts as well, the Chiefs, and the Giants. All good stuff. The ones who I just was scratching my head: Panthers, Broncos, Browns, and Dolphins. I'm not quite sure what you're doing, but yeah, they did it. So, all right, continuing that same order, Ricky K, passing it on to you. What you got? Biggest winners and losers, or likes, dislikes?
Well, I would say the biggest winner for me is, like Mike was saying earlier, the Green Bay Packers. getting a guy like Matthew Golden. I don't know how Golden got into the late 20s between all the hype that he had before the draft. Getting your first receiver since 2002. I think Aaron Rodgers was watching from his home with his handshake agreement from the Steelers that was like, where was this when I was playing quarterback? And you end up getting a receiver, and now you have Golden, Watson, Dobbs, Reed. Jordan Love's got everything he could ask for at that receiver room, so you give them a lot of credit. So I give them the win there. I would say the biggest loser for me is, like you said, Larry, Carolina. I think you look at Ted McMillan, and there's good things to Ted McMillan, but at the same time, as a vertical guy that really has just that one kind of route, and we'll see if he can kind of develop more of an expanded route tree. I just think I thought Ted would be there for Dallas at 12 as kind of being the CeeDee Lamb guy. I think he's better as a 2 or a 3 right now. He's going to go and expect to be the savior in Carolina, and I just don't think, as good as Dave Canales is at calling plays, I don't think they're ready to get a receiver at 8. Maybe they could have traded down, and maybe they tried to trade down. But to me, I think they were more they had one of the worst pass rushes in the league, and they didn't address that when that was probably a bigger need for them than wide receiver.
Could not agree more. But does Mike agree? Let's see. What do you think, Mike?
So my biggest winner, looking through it, and there were a lot of teams that made some good picks. So, there were a lot of teams I think that did really well. I'm going to avoid saying my Ravens, even though that was a damn good pick to have Malachi Starks. But we've already talked about it. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. And the reason being is because I think, Josh Simmons, if he had not gotten hurt last year, probably would have been among that group of offensive linemen that went in the top 15. Suffers the injury, drops a little bit further down the board, which is fair. The injury concerns are fair. But man, to sit there at 32 and get a guy who I would say fully healthy is easily the second best pass blocker in the draft is an absolute steal. So I would say the Chiefs would get the win, with the honorable mention being the Giants. Kind of like Ralph said, dude. I mean, you couldn't go wrong with Abdul Carter. And to make that trade where you really did not give up that much to get back into the first and get Jackson Dart, I thought that was absolutely clutch of them. So honorable mention to the Giants. Loser, I'm trying to be different because I want to do Denver, but I'm trying to add some variety. I'm gonna go with. I'm going to say Detroit. And the reason why I say Detroit, it's not that I didn't like their pick. It's that I feel like there were guys who were starting to fall to them that would have been the pick, and they just missed out on hitting on I would have thought offensive guard was a bigger need for them. I would have thought edge rusher was a bigger need, and the board just did not break great for them to address those spots. So it's not necessarily Detroit as a loser for the player they picked. It's that they just didn't quite get the luck of the draw with the players breaking down to them. So Detroit, obviously Denver, we've talked about Denver. And like I said, Jacksonville, Cleveland, that is a situation that we are going to have to monitor closely for the coming years, because if Travis Hunter becomes everything that he's being made out to be, then I don't know if you can really mark that as a loss for the Jaguars. And similarly, if Mason Graham becomes an All-Pro for the Browns, I don't know how you can mark it as a loss for the Browns. So we'll have to see how that one develops.
Ooh, I like it. Good stuff there, Mike. All right, pass it on to Ralph. Obviously, again, you and I will probably be really fast. I mean, I was trying.
Yeah,
what do you think, Ralph?
I'm just gonna give a quick winner and loser, one other than what I just mentioned. I'll start with the winner first. I think the Eagles did a great job getting Jaheed Campbell. I think he was the best player available at the time, and then they needed somebody to fill the linebacking core out there. And hey, if you draft somebody from Alabama, how can you go wrong?
Yeah.
So, and they traded up to get it, so they must have had that. They must have had that on their mind. And I'm going to go back to the beginning of the show where Mike and Ricky mentioned the Denver Broncos. Man, you have a potential superstar quarterback out there, yes. and he probably is. He's probably borderline superstar right now in my eyes. And you go and pick Jaheed Barron, a cornerback from Texas. you have one of the best cornerbacks in football already with Patrick Surtain. I don't understand the need for a cornerback there at the Broncos. So I really think that would be like my worst pick of all the first round picks.
I'm glad we all have very similar thoughts here, guys. So tonight, of course, we're going commercial free because this is going to be a long show anyway. So we're not going to muck it up with any commercials tonight. We're just rolling through it as we usually do for these bigger shows. And well, we're just going to get right on into it, man. So take a deep breath, guys, because without further ado, all 32 teams are on their way. This time, hey, I'm not taking the microphone here. I love it. I love it. You know me, I enjoy getting it. But hey, I'm going to pass to these guys first before we get back to me. It's a fun show, and these guys are here for a reason, not to hear me talk forever. So you know what? We're going to continue with that little round wave. We'll be starting things off. Ricky, give it to us, man. The Arizona Cardinals, we have all of their picks, of course, which we can get to. But what did you think overall about the Arizona Cardinals draft?
Well, I think you look at the Cardinals, the one thing I was talking about Golden earlier, that's the guy I would have thought would have taken Paramount Marvin Harrison Jr., help Kyle Murray in what is a make or break year. As much as I like Walter Nolan, I think he's going to do a good job on the defensive line for Arizona. I was thinking they might help the offense a little bit more there. But I think depending on what happens with his knee issues, Will Johnson could be one of the steals of the draft. They get was a top 10 corner, a top 10 pick a corner in the second round. This is a guy that we know can make big plays, defense back, and take a pick and take it to the house, and very good in terms of identifying the ball when he's covering guys. I like that pick. I would say the other one would be getting some depth as well. Denzel Burke in the 5th round. So now you've gotten 2 quality Big Ten corners that can really help this defense. They had a safety as well in Crawford from Nevada. Overall, it looked like Jonathan Gannon was looking at defense in this draft, and I think he's got some young pieces. It's now about, can this offense take another step in 2025 as those young defensive players develop? But to me, Will Johnson could be the guy that headlines this class, whether he succeeds or fails.
That's actually really good analysis. Mike Pat, the Cardinals, what did you think?
So reminder to the longtime fans of the show, I'll be using my traditional loved it, liked it, we'll see grading formula for the drafts. And for the Cardinals, I mean, look, Ricky said it. There was a very clear theme when 6 of your 7 picks are on the defensive side of the ball. Clearly, there was a focus there. And I think that's where a lot of their need on this team was on the defensive side of the ball. I am surprised that they didn't get any weapons whatsoever, like no number 2 receiver to complement Marvin Harrison, no tight end to go with Trey McBride. They took one offensive lineman late in Hayden Connor out of Texas. I'm surprised they didn't even look to address that one a little bit earlier, but overall, I liked it because of what they did on the offensive side of the ball, but I can't give them a grade higher than that because they did nothing to help the offense. And I mean, in today's league, Larry, I know you're going to hate me saying this, but in today's league, you got to be able to score points. You got to have that balance, and the Cardinals just did not have the balance in this draft, but they got good value. They got some good players on the defensive side of the ball. Their defense certainly got better after today, but I can't say I love this one.
Yeah, I love it. No, good stuff there, and you're right. It's hard. I'll get to mine in a few moments, but Ralph Calise, we got the Arizona Cardinals, man. What did you think?
All right, well, like Ricky and Mike said, basically, they went all defense, so they took 6 defensive players, only took 1 offensive player, and like Mike just said, it wasn't really a weapon, it was an offensive lineman. So basically, their draft, they got Will Johnson, like Ricky said, also, which was a very great pick for them. But they went defense. I guess their need for defense was defense, and they went for it. And I am intrigued by one pick here, and that was a linebacker, Cody Simon from Ohio State. This kid had some really good grades, and they got him in a 4th round. So they must have did their homework on that. And just overall, I'd say give him like a, I don't know, we doing grades, A, B, C, D? Are we doing that?
However you'd really want to go about it. You heard these guys, so what do you think?
I would say a B. I'll give them a B, a total B.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, I love their 1st round pick, but Walter Nolan, he's going to be a good player.
He's a beast. Our very own Alden K, the host of Arizona Sports Zone here on IE Sports Radio Fridays. Make sure to catch him. Moses does a great job Friday evenings. He did not like this pick, and he voiced it very clearly. He was not very happy. I mean, obviously, he's like, I get it. It's probably a need, but, and I get that. So totally understood that. But yeah, Walter Nolan, you got Will Johnson, who I still can't believe he fell to the second round. But you're totally right. Birch, I liked him a lot. Yeah, Cody Simmons. I mean, there were some good players that they got here, but you're totally right, Mike Pat. I mean, look, it's true. I can say it all I want to. Yeah, I hate offense, but at the end of the day, you need them. I mean, what's the point of playing that? You can't play the game against the defense, so you need some. If anything, stay on the damn field to rest your defense. All right. I mean, get down and kick a field goal. You don't got to get in the end zone, but score some kind of points. So I mean, when it comes down to it, you need to get down the field. So overall, you look. The Falcons, which are coming up next, I got some similarities here, but with these birds, look, they were good. They were good. I liked what they did in some things, but overall, it's true. I know you think you got the offense, but let's just be real, guys. They don't. They don't have the offense that they truly want right now. You probably should have addressed some needs on there, because I can think of a couple players there that could have probably been a little bit better than what they got. So overall, didn't hate their draft, but I did not love their draft at all. It was mediocre. Very, very. Maybe they went the Madden route, picked the best available. I don't know, or who they thought was. But at the end of the day, no, you don't have the offense, guys. You don't have the luxury of just going one side of the ball because you think your offense is great. Because if that was the truth, you would have had a really good offense last year, and you didn't. So, yeah, maybe Alden agrees with that. So, all right, guys, that was that for those Arizona Cardinals. Now we're going to go ahead and fly on over from the desert, find ourselves, in the whoopsies. Sorry about that. Fly on over to Atlanta to talk about them dirty birds, man. The Atlanta Falcons. Okay. Look, guys. Okay. Well, again, I'm not going to go in. I'm sorry. I caught myself there. That was pretty good. All right. Ricky K, talk to us, man. Atlanta Falcons. I loved the first round. I think they won the first round. What do you think about the entire draft, though?
Okay, so Ralph's got his letter grades. Mike's got his grading system. So I'll just go with, for me, the player I think is going to be the make or break of the draft for each team. I think that's kind of my system.
Okay,
that's cool. And to me, that's James Pierce for two reasons. One, you get a guy on the edge because Jalen Walker is an easy pick, right? That's a guy that should have been top 10. You get him at 15. Definitely a steal for them. But Pierce is a big thing because you talk about a team that had no draft capital, and now you gave up future draft capital when you're in an NFC that, are you really a James Pierce away from being in the Super Bowl? And that's what you're giving up your first rounder. You're hoping it's in the 20s so that it doesn't matter. Is Atlanta a team in the 20s? We're going to find out. Raheem Morris is going to find out if that's possible. So to me, James Pierce is the difference maker in whether this is a great trade long-term or crazy enough that you just lost your first-round pick and you're trying to figure out things from there. In terms of under the radar, I love the Xavier Watts pick in the third round. You look at a guy that was very good at Notre Dame, played well against some tough competition, especially in the playoff. Went up against some of the top receivers and held his own at times outside of a big play here or there, especially in the championship. So I think Watts is the steal because you're getting a guy now that could be a safety with Jesse Bates, and you get him on day 2. So I like the Watts pick, but the Pierce pick is going to make or break this draft, both now and in the future.
That is so freaking true. Oh, that's a good analysis. Mike Pat, what do you got?
So the Falcons, see, this is a tough one for me because I really liked every single player they picked. Every single player, I think, has a chance to be a really good NFL player. But the fact of the matter is you really only address 2 needs. You only addressed edge rusher and safety. Yeah, you did get an offensive lineman, and I really like Jack Nelson. I thought that was a steal in the 7th round to get Nelson there. But, I mean, he's a backup offensive tackle, developmental guy, maybe not somebody who helps you round 1. So Atlanta gets a Will C, which is the lowest on the scale, by the way. Reminder, for 2 reasons. One, like Alden or like Ricky said, that trade for James Pierce, giving up a future first-round pick is huge, especially to get into the late first round. That is putting a ton of eggs in the James Pierce basket to count on him to work out. A guy who has phenomenal tools, but didn't necessarily have the production on the field in college. So that's one component. The other component is, and this is going to be a recurring theme, you're going to hear me talk about it a lot in this show, helping your young quarterback. Atlanta is the focus is on Michael Penix now. The Kirk Cousins experiment didn't work. Ain't going to work. The focus is on Michael Penix. You got to help your young quarterback. You cannot, just get him 1 7th-round offensive tackle and call it a day. You look at other teams we're going to talk about. I'm going to throw out a few names of teams like New England did a ton to help their unicorn of a quarterback.
Diamond in the rough.
Yeah, diamond in the rough. Sorry, diamond in the rough quarterback, exactly. And then Carolina, as much as we don't necessarily love the Tetaroa McMillan pick, did that great weapon to help their young quarterback. And you'll see other teams that did that throughout this draft class. Atlanta didn't do it. So I can't say that I even liked this draft, even though I liked every player they picked. I mean, how do you not help your young quarterback? I also thought they needed more help in the trenches. So we'll throw that in.
Big time. No, good stuff. Okay. I want to comment on all this stuff so bad, but good. Okay. Ralph, what you got?
All right, I'll keep it short, Larry, so you could go. Hey, it was just kidding. It was all defense. Another team that needed to draft defense. Look at their ranks and all their defenses. They were 29th and lower in all the defensive categories. So they had the 2 first-round picks, and they took possibly the 2 best players they can pick at there, with Walker and Pierce. And Xavier Watts, like Ricky mentioned. I got a couple of notes here on him. He was one of the best. He had one of the best cover grades in college football. So hopefully, he can bring that to the NFL. And they got themselves a nice ball hawk safety there. But this was all defense. So I'll give the Falcons an A. I mean, hey, drafting isn't the draft about what you need, and that's what they needed, according to, everything that they had with the defense. So, yeah. And last year, like they got Phoenix last year, like Mike just said, they got their offensive guy last year. He came in later in the year. So, I like I said, it was a need for the draft for defense, and that's what they did. That's what they did.
They did
with
exactly
the 2 first
that.
picks, yeah. And every player they picked is good, like you guys said. I'm just reading all all you guys were saying it. I'm reading all the things on all the guys that they picked, and there's not anything bad on this piece of paper I'm reading. So
they look good, Ralph. They look good. I mean, Walker was a no-brainer. I loved it. He did fall a little bit. I kind of thought he would tumble a little bit. I'm not sure why, but the guy's a freaking monster. The guy is going to make it happen. The Pierce, I know the trend. Yeah, Mike Pat hit it on the head. It's risky, but let's see. It's about gambling sometimes. That was awesome. They got the 2 dudes. I mean, if you guys seen Anthony, our very own ACS man, Anthony, the host of Georgia Sports Central here at IE Sports Radio on Wednesday evenings. Man, this dude was so freaking hyped in his video that he made for us. He was so excited.
Yeah,
he was like, I told him to, like, he was like, it's like he called him and told him himself. Like, he knew this was it. And you know what? Okay, they think they got their guys on offense. They're going to go with Penix. They know, okay, that's great. If they feel they have the offense, go. Let's see what they got. They definitely got some dogs on defense. Let's do it, man. Let's see. Look, they know because, okay, what are they doing? They got 2 monsters on defense that can come be an immediate impact. What are they doing? They're going after quarterbacks. Who the hell is the quarterback of the Saints? I don't know. I'm not sure who's going to be back there. I thought it was going to be Shador. Well, it's not. We don't know who it's going to be. And even if it was Carr, fluster Carr. Look what happens. Yeah. Okay. You got Bryce. Really? That's the guy. Okay, he's a youngster. We don't even know just yet. I want him to succeed so bad because I've been a fan of him since modern day. But again, what do they see? A rookie. Deer in the headlights, go after him. And who is really the main threat at quarterback in that entire freaking division? You already know they're going to go after Mr. Tampa Bay himself. All right. So again, guys, they went and did what they had to do. So you know what? I loved it. I think the Falcons did an amazing job this year. Boom. Okay, so I'm gonna cut it there because again, we got a lot more teams to get to tonight. And a lot of this goes into another Another team that loves some defense, and well, these guys, you play like a Raven. Another set of birds here, and boy, they're as purple as you can get. This time we're going to switch it up and start with Mike Pat this time because this is his neck of the woods. But oh my goodness, play like a Raven, and the guy they drafted in the first round definitely plays like a Raven. And the rest of the draft, well, did they play? Will they play like a Raven? Well, we'll find out. Mike Pat, start us off the Baltimore Ravens draft.
So we talked at length about the first round pick, Malachi Starks. Great pick, typical Ravens pick. Then getting Mike Green in the second. I mean, I cannot do a backflip, but I wanted to at that moment when we were able to score a guy like that in late second round. I know there's the off the field stuff, and all I can do on that is hope that the Ravens did their homework and they found that it's not good. There aren't going to be any further issues along that side. But in terms of the player on the field, very talented pass rusher. You could argue, very reasonably argue through the first two rounds that the Ravens were winning the draft, between those two guys. I think you could make that fair argument. Then the third round, they got a guy, Emory Jones, solid offensive lineman at LSU. I think they're going to kick him inside to guard, which will hide some of his weakness in working in space. He likes to work in a phone booth, which is perfect for a guard. Then came day 3. Day 3 was really weird for me, for the Ravens. Now, I will give them credit. They went down and they checked off all of the needs. Boom, boom, boom. Needed a linebacker. Boom, got one. Needed a corner. Boom, got one. Needed defensive line. Got it. O-line. They went through and they checked off all of their needs. I'll give them credit for that. The trades were really strange. They entered the day with 2 fourth-round picks, a 5th, and 4 6s. And they somehow ended with a 4th, a 5th, and 5 6s, and didn't really they moved up 1 round next year in exchange for all of that. So the trades were really weird, and the value wasn't necessarily the greatest, in my opinion. But hey, like I said, on day 7, they went through, boom, checked off a bunch of needs, got a couple guys late that I really like that I think could be impact players. And interestingly enough, got a kicker, which I'm sure was an eyebrow raise to a lot of people. But given Justin Tucker's allegations going on in Baltimore right now, I would say better be safe than sorry in that regard. So overall, I mean, I liked it. I think day 3 could have been better. But I mean, come on, you can't complain with those first 2 picks. You really just can't.
That's for freaking sure. I loved the pick, and I'm excited for the Ravens. All right, give it to us, Mr. Ricky. What you got?
All right, so the one pick to me that identifies this draft is makes or breaks this draft. I think, like Mike said, is Mike Green. If those questions are answered in the affirmative, they got a first-round pass rusher in the second round. We already talked about Starks, so I'm not going to pick him for this. The kicker thing, like he said, it's clear there's something going with Justin Tucker. We'll see what happens with that. I'm going to talk about some of their 6th round picks. Obviously, a local one here on New York State of Sports, Robert Longerbeam. Great name, a 6th round pick out of Rutgers. And we talked, Bill Belichick always used to take those crazy Rutgers secondary guys. Everyone thought he was crazy and built Super Bowl champions with him. Longerbeam isn't quite Devin McCourty, but I would say like a Deron Harmon kind of player, team captain. He can play in the slot. So you get a leader of a defense kind of in the 6th round that helps. And DeJounte Wester shouldn't get overlooked either. Could be at special teams. And we talk about Colorado offense with Shador and Hunter, and they have weapons. Wester is that 5'10" speed kind of guy. Maybe he makes the special teams impact. So even though they got a lot of 6s, I think those 2 guys could make an impact maybe in the short term if they do make the roster.
Awesome analysis. I love the Mike Green. I mean, you're totally right. That is such a thing, right? I know, but good stuff there. Ralph Calise, your favorite team, the Baltimore Ravens. Talk about it.
All right. When I see the Ravens draft, I know it's always going to be a good draft because they always do the right thing. They always do the right thing. Harbaugh is a smart coach, even though I hate him. But yeah, they got Starks. This kid could make that secondary possibly the best secondary in football. And I think they had 11 picks, right, Mike? Was it 11 picks total? That's a lot of picks in 3 days. So I'm sure they were out there doing their homework. I wrote down on my paper for my notes that the kicker was intriguing. So I don't know if they're going to move on from Justin Tucker or But that was an interesting pick. But he is a good kicker from what I read.
Mhm.
And basically they got defense. As I'm looking here, the defense. And hey, like I said, the Ravens they do the right thing. They know what they're doing. It's actually when the Ravens and the Steelers draft. I got to bring my team in to compare them. I always mention it on my show. When the Steelers draft, if they draft 7 players, 4 are guaranteed to stick, and that's a great percentage. And the Ravens do the same thing. So that's how
You
I
hit
look
it on
at
the
it
head.
like that. Yeah.
You hit it on the head, Ralph. And I mean, going to everyone. I mean, how many picks? Oh my gosh! And these guys made it all worth it. I love it. The longer beam is awesome. I love that pick. It's kind of funny. I was thinking the same thing. Like those crazy
I'm
dudes
sorry.
you can pick.
My grade for them is an A.
Oh yeah, there's no way they didn't. This was great. Let's see what happens.
Mike's
I
pumping
mean,
his fist out.
what right from a Steelers fan, you get a freaking A. I mean, look, man, you gotta love it. They did what they had to do, right?
AFC North, they're still going to be the team to beat in the division. I don't.
They did what they did. They did what they had to do. Emory Jones, oh my gosh, I love it. Look, this was something. And look, like I said, I am, and I don't give a crap. I will still call it Pac-12. I'm a Pac-12 guy. All right. Yep. I don't care. I ain't go. To me, it's never going away. Cal, okay, seen this young man, man. Teddy Buchanan, this guy is a freaking monster. I love what I've seen out of him all year. You know what, man? They got value. This was great. Now, oh man, I wish it was the Steelers next because I got something to say about the Steelers. Oh my gosh, talk about a draft. But Ravens just polish it up. Great stuff. Good job, guys. The Harbaugh did it again. I'm excited for this year to see these guys on the field, man. Let's see what they can do. Let's do it. The Ravens look strong. Now, off to another team that will also more than likely be in the playoffs. If they don't, something went terribly wrong. But to another team that will be in the AFC playoffs this year, the Buffalo Bills. Oh boy, this team looked good for a lot of years as of recent. Did this draft help them? Let's talk about it. Give it to us, Ricky.
Well, how do you beat the Chiefs? Defense, and defense. And that was clearly what was on the line for the Bills in this draft. Maxwell Harrison in the first round was the corner out of Kentucky with a lot of speed. But I think the guy that could make or break this draft is TJ Sanders out of South Carolina in the second round. He's a guy that can help on run defense and get after the quarterback. I think he's kind of that hybrid defensive lineman. You look at him and Ed Oliver on that side. I think it's a real strong unit. The sleeper pick for me is Landon Jackson, third rounder of Arkansas. Guy can run. Got good speed off the edge. Will he make that impact to the NFL? We'll see. But they clearly have the pieces in place offensively. Now they want to just get the more pass rushers you can get at Patrick Mahomes, because that's the goal in the AFC Championship, the better. So might as well graft guys in abundance and see if one or two of them pan out to be breakout stars for them.
That is so freaking true. I love that. Good analysis there. Mike Pat, what do you think about these guys?
I thought Buffalo did great. And one of the things that I really liked about their draft was their aggressiveness and their willingness to dart around the board, move picks. They made a big trade with Chicago involving multiple day 2 picks for both teams, made sure that they could get their guys, made some other trades here and there. I really liked it. I mean, throughout they got value. They upgraded the defense tremendously. I did not know this because I was looking at it, I was like, why are they taking so many defensive tackles? And then I realized that aside from Ed Oliver, they have Larry Ogunjobi, who they signed in free agency, but is apparently suspended for the first part of the season. So that's going to impact that. And then their other defensive tackle is 34-year-old Daquan Jones. So I was like, okay, I get that, wanting to go load up on some tackles. Deion Walker, I was secretly hoping this dude was going to fall to the Ravens, end of the fourth. This dude is a beast. He's a monster. He's not an amazing pass rusher. He's not going to get you 10 sacks, but he's a guy you're just going to put him in the middle and say, stop. And then he's just going to stop everything right there. So I really like this draft. The focus was on defense. They did get a few good pieces late on the offensive side of the ball, and a couple DMV guys as well. Cornerback Dorian Strong out of Virginia Tech. I really like that pick in the 6th round. And wide receiver Caden Prather, who I honestly did not think that guy was going to get drafted, but he went in the late 7th. So it was all about Ty Felton, okay? It was all about Ty Felton for Maryland at receiver. But no, I would, and you know what? I would venture to say that I loved this draft. Yeah, I think I would say that. I think I would say I loved this Bills draft.
There is a love in there. There's love in the air, guys. Well, hey, there's a guy over here who knows who the Bills are because his team, has to see them occasionally. So, no, another AFC rival here, Mr. Ralph. What do you think?
I'm going to say I really know the Bills because of our former co-host of the Buffalo show there, Patty Bax, when she hit me with that poem on my first show when we did the playoff matchup, Bills versus the Steelers, and she hit me with that poem, and I was like, oh my God. But yeah, I give the Bills a capital A for their draft. I mean, you guys mentioned it all right there. Like Ricky said, defense. How do you beat the Chiefs? Defensive line. I mean, they drafted three. They drafted three in a row. Sanders, who has a great 3 technique here, is what it says. The edge, Landon Jackson from Arkansas, and Mikey, you stole my thunder there with the Deion Walker.
Yes,
they got a write up on this kid, even though he's like one of the largest players in the draft at 345 pounds. He plays with finesse. So if you're talking about a 345-pound guy playing with finesse, he's going to be really good for a defensive line. And I didn't know about that thing with Ojinobi because he was on the Steelers last year. What did he get suspended for?
No, I just saw Ogunjobi suspended.
Okay. I don't know.
Couldn't tell you.
That's why the Steelers didn't sign him, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, like I said, they three defensive players in a row that are all linemen, and the Bills went defense, more defense. It seems like all these teams so far are defense.
Ogunjobi violated performance enhancing substances policy.
Okay. Maybe that's why he couldn't tackle Derrick Henry in the playoffs last year.
Oh, crap. Well, I will tell you. I will say this. Look, I loved it. We're just giving out these good freaking grades, but look, the TJ Sanders pick was amazing because look, I mean, there's a guy that knocked a helmet off somebody one time from South Carolina, and his name was Clowney. And there was another guy who was a guy who played somehow, some way, got lined up on the defensive line and at safety in different packages. How the hell does that happen? Wow. Yeah, I'm talking about Mr. Melvin Ingram. So I'm just saying, South Carolina's pumped out some pretty good guys that can play on the defensive side of the ball. So this is this I know is a little further back, but regardless, this is pretty nice. Overall, the Bills did what they had to do, man. I had no idea either about Ogunjobi. Interesting, crazy there, but yeah, Landon Jackson. I mean, again, you look at what it was. They got who they needed, right? And you know what? To me, this was amazing. So not to stay on the Bills forever. They're good. I loved it. This was a good pick for me. Another one that I absolutely loved. So good job to the Bills. They did what they had to do, and there you have it. So continuing to move on through here. We're going to get to those guys in just a little bit. JB popping in the chat room here. We'll talk about them Dolphins. But, so moving forward, we're going to turn that color blue into a little bit of a lighter blue. Carolina blue, if you will, because them Carolina Panthers, now I think I get to talk a little bit about the But before we do that, there's a guy here, who wants to voice his opinion really fast. So if you will, ladies and gentlemen, the host of our Carolina Sports Show every Monday afternoon. And of course, may I say, respected sailor, good sir, Mr. Neil Curtis. Let's hear what he has to say about his Panthers before we go around the table.
All right, everybody, welcome back once again. This is it, last pick for the Carolina Panthers, pick 208, the 32nd pick in round 6. We're wrapping it up here. Panthers go back to the well. They draft another wide receiver, this time Jimmy Horn Jr. out of Colorado. Pair up opposite of J.C. Horn. Cornerback Shouldn't be too confusing there at all, I guess. Smaller guy, 5'8", like really small guy. 174 pounds ish. Decent speed, not blazing. 4.46 40-yard at the combine with a 1.54 10-yard split. Decent explosiveness expected. 10.8 on his broad jump, 38 inches on his vertical, which I guess when you consider 5'8", it's not too shabby at all. But probably definitely looking at a lot more of a return man here, and a little bit of competition, some backup in the slot. He played most of his time in the slot at Colorado this last season. Out of 287 snaps, 261 were taken in the slot. So that's it, everybody. That wraps up all the draft picks for Carolina this year. It's been an exciting draft. Doing our quick short here in a few minutes with a quick recap of everything. My thoughts. Just remember, keep pounding and tune in to IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
So as you saw there, that was his 7th round. For some reason, the other one didn't come through. I'm not quite sure. Regardless, though, you'll hear plenty more about that. As you can see, he's a stats guy. Good stuff there, Neil. Thank you for doing all that good stuff. But yeah, he was very excited for this draft in a lot of ways. You should see if you guys have not seen his first round response, he was pretty excited. But again, we will get more into that in just a little bit. So my apologies on what happened to the video there, unfortunately. But let's go around the table and see. Again, Cax and Neil every Monday afternoon or evenings, depending on where you are in the country, on Carolina Sports Update. Always does an amazing job. So, all right, heading on back to Ricky. What did you think?
Well, obviously, we've talked about Tet McMillan, and I think he's the player that makes or breaks this draft because you get a guy for Bryce Young. Will he be that number one guy? We shall see. I think he has the potential to be, but we've seen kind of with those larger frame wide receivers, is there more in the tank than just a downfield ball? And if he can't win those 50-50 ones, who knows then what his potential can be. But he was a guy who was supposed to be, if he did this mock draft a year ago, would have been a top 5 pick. So considering he was at 8, okay, you could live with it, but they did bigger needs, which they addressed later with Scourton and Uma Milan, the 2 edge rushers from the SEC in the 2nd and 3rd rounds. I don't mind that. My favorite under the radar pick is their 2nd, 5th rounder, Mitchell Evans from Notre Dame. Now, everyone remembers Michael Mayer and everyone remembers all these different Notre Dame tight ends. Mitchell Evans kind of under the radar, but you look at the Irish's run to the championship game last year, and Evans was a player Riley Leonard relied on tremendously to make those catches, to kind of make even contested grabs. So he's kind of under the radar guy if he can work on run blocking a little bit, especially in this Panthers offense. Maybe he sees more time on the field, 6'5", 258 pounds. And to get him in the 5th round when we're looking at tight ends that can get down the field, I mean, that's a player I think that could have a really bright future if all things go right.
Agreed. Good stuff there. I want to capitalize on one of the things you said there. But Mike Pat, what you got?
I mean, I thought this was a good draft. I actually had Tet McMillan going to Carolina in our mock draft challenge, not to brag or anything. But yeah, no. And was it the greatest value pick? No. Is Tet the perfect receiving prospect? No. Although, I mean, 6'4.5", 220. I mean, that type of size for a quarterback like Bryce Young, definitely a nice big target to find. I am confused as to why they took both Nick Scorton and Prince, and I'm just going to say Prince U because I'm not going to butcher his last name. It took me a while to get Donovan Izuruwaku taken down pat. So, you know, we'll one complicated last name at a time. But given that this team, I mean, they still have Jadeveon Clowney. They went out and signed Patrick Jones in free agency, and they had several other depth guys at edge rusher. I'm surprised that they went double edge on day 2, as opposed to maybe focusing on some other needs. But I mean, 2 good players. So you can't, complain that. Very balanced draft, 4 offense, 4 defense. So the team definitely spread the wealth of their picks. I'd say I liked it. I thought they got some good players here. My only concern about Jimmy Horn is, at some point, the size, do you just have the physical tools, the size to just stand up to the NFL? There are a couple of guys in this draft class that I had concerns about. Many of whom got drafted, so we'll talk about them in a bit. But no, I liked it. It was solid. It was not anything that you're going to write home about, but it was good.
right? It was decent. I mean, I think that's the best way to describe it. So, Ralph, what you got?
I kind of liked it. I gave him an A. Gave him another A. They're continuing to build around Brace Young with the wide receiver McMillan. They did in their second and third rounds. They did trade up to get Scorton. They traded up to get him for the defense. So, and then they traded up again to get Prince U, as Mike Pat calls him there.
Mm-hmm.
So they traded up to get defense in the second and third rounds, and I like that they did that. That's good. To showing that they defense is part of the game there. And then I like this pick here. They drafted Trevor Etienne from Georgia. That's Travis's brother.
Yeah,
and they got some good stuff on him. And it says that he's stoutly built. It showed on tape. And he forced 30 missed tackles on 126 rushing attempts. So I don't know if he turns out to be anything like his brother or maybe better. That's even better for Carolina. So I actually like what they did. Like Mike said, it was very balanced.
Mm-hmm.
And they drafted. Again, another team that drafted to their needs. They drafted what they needed, and they traded up to get what they wanted. And we'll see how the wide receiver works out.
Ted's a great player. He'll do well. It's just, I don't know, man. It's protect Bryce. I don't know. It's rough. I like what is true because Mike Pat did have that one pegged. But true, wasn't the value, but they made something that they thought they needed. Okay, let's see what they did. Overall, I thought it was an okay draft. Could they have done better? First, I think so. Mr. Neil Curtis would probably disagree with me right now a lot, and that's okay. But let's see what they do. You're right. Let's see what happens. Maybe that was the greatest draft ever. Who knows?
Additional note today, right after the conclusion of the draft, they did pick up the 5th-year option on left tackle Ikem Nkwonu, who they took in the first round in 2022. So
Good.
They secured him for one more year.
Needed. Yeah. Okay. This is good. Good way to end that one there. All righty. Well, we're going to go ahead and move it on to a team who wears dark blue and orange. And, well, it's not the Broncos. This one, our very own Adam Karnick.
Where's Adam?
Oh, my goodness. We're heading on from Carolina to the windy city of Chicago to talk about the Bears because these guys, well, this was save the comments till the end type of deal here. Mr. Ricky K, start us off.
Caleb Williams has some dudes, and he's got no excuse now with Ben Johnson to not have a breakout year this season at quarterback. Between Loveland, you could argue Loveland or Warren, but Loveland's a player that can make an impact. Lewis Burden, to me, is the steal of this draft. To get him at 39 when this is a player that could have been a first-round pick, you could see the tools, but he's another one deep threat kind of guy, and he's not going to be the focal point in that offense. When you look at DJ Moore and Roma Dunze, he's going to get number 3 guys. I mean, this is a guy that can basically feast on those kind of players. They get a first-round talent in Shamar Turner, a defensive tackle in the second round. They got an offensive lineman in Nazi Trapilo. All in all, solid draft. Locally, you look at this running back class, and it's deep. Kamanon guy is not a 7th-round pick. Kamanon guy is at least a early day 3 pick. I think he had some really good years at Rutgers. He's a guy that does a great job at yards after contact. He's a powerful back. We'll see if he can maybe do some things in the receiving core, but to get him in the 7th round, I thought was really good value to cap off this draft. But definitely no excuses. Ben Johnson has some fun new guys to play with, and let's see what kind of creativity he comes up with this year.
Keyword, no excuses. Mike Bat, what you got?
We're going back to that theme of building around your young quarterback, and the Bears definitely had that focus, getting him a nice, big, friendly tight end in Colston Loveland. And then, like Ricky said, Burden in the second. That was incredible that he just slid all the way through the first round. That was absolutely absurd. I don't love the value to me. It was funny because some picks I was like, oh my gosh, that's fantastic value. And then some picks I'm like, I don't love that. And one of those was their second round pick, Ozzie Trapillo out of Boston College. Solid player, but I studied him a bit through the pre-draft process, and I looked at him and I'm like, I didn't see a guy that was going to become a better than average NFL starter. I think he could be an okay left tackle. He could be a decent right tackle. I thought his best fit would have been as a swing tackle backup for a team. So grabbing him late second, I didn't love that. And then it's funny, they picked a player out of the DMV who I did not know the name. Ruben Hippolyte out of Maryland. I saw the name come across the screen. I was like, who? I did not talk about that guy during the season. And actually turns out he was the leading tackler on Maryland's defense, albeit with a grand total of 65 tackles. So it's not like he put up an absolutely astonishing amount of tackles, but he is apparently athletic. Nobody really had a draft grade on that guy, so don't know how he'll work out. But I like the Monagai pick that Ricky brought up, and I liked the Za Frazier pick in the late 5th round. He was a guy who I was secretly hoping would fall to Ravens or Commanders there as he was going down the board. So I liked it, but it felt a little uneven to me throughout.
That is so accurate. Okay, I feel like I'm a combination of you guys so far. Ralph, what you got?
Well, I thought this was really the first big surprise of the draft because I thought for sure it was going to be Tyler Warren here, and they drafted they drafted Colston Loveland from Michigan, which they were saying is a more of a Ben Johnson type player, but okay. So yeah, he went with that, and like Ricky said, he's got no excuses now. He's got all the toys. He's going to team this kid up with Cole Kmet, and he still has DJ Moore, Romo, and Duze, and now you add Luther Burden with the second pick. Man, that is some stacked receiving core there. And they said Loveland is really like he could be used as like a wide receiver. So yeah, that was great. And Mike, as you were talking about Ruben Hyperlight, if that's how we say his name, and he is the second. It says here. He said it says here that he logged 425 career special team snaps, and that's likely where he'll probably be featured for the Bears. So I guess what this thing here is saying is they drafted a great special teams player. So I gave the Bears a B+ for their draft.
That's fair. That's fair. I'd be somewhere in that range. Guys, it's the truth. The two in the front, oh my gosh, look, Loveland or Warren, didn't matter. You're going to get a dude. That's all there is to it. You're going to get a dude. Burden, that to me is what did it. Oh, I loved it. I thought you're totally right. Guys, again, no excuses. You know me. I was critical on Caleb Williams. I will still be because of how not good he was at USC. Fight me. I don't care. Anybody listening out there, fight me. Fight me. Anybody out there, I swear, because I got too much crap for being critical on him last year. And I'm like, did you see? He's not that good. Do you guys see? But now maybe he got better. But you're totally right. You surround him with weapons and he's still not that good. Well, then I guess he's just not that good. But hey, I'll eat crow. I'm fine with that. Hopefully he is good. I want him to succeed. But now there's no damn excuses. Looking at you, Dak. Same thing. What you got, Mike?
I will say this. We were talking earlier about Aaron Rodgers' reaction when Green Bay took a wide receiver. How do you think Justin Fields is feeling right now? Now this team has taken back-to-back top 10 weapons and then adding another receiver and, the trade for DJ Moore had already happened. But my goodness, Justin Fields is probably there like, you don't think I could have succeeded with all of this?
Seriously, right? You could have done that for me, Jake. Thanks, a-holes. I mean, seriously, right? Oh my gosh, the Bears. Well, let's see.
It was a different coach, but it wasn't Ben Johnson. It was whoever the hell the other guy was.
Yeah, well, as you can see, the orange got a little bit lighter because, well, we're heading on down to South Ohio. The Cincinnati Bengals. Oh boy, this is a fun one. Oh, we got some thumbs down. Let's go. Let's see what we got here. Ricky, start us off, man. Who dey?
Well, who dey needs some defense because they've got offense, but somebody's got to stop somebody in Cincinnati. And Shamar Stewart's the guy taken in 17 that people have mixed opinions on him, so we'll see what happens. Tape is good, but the numbers not so great. The player I like, and you were talking about it, Larry, I don't know how they're not great in the SEC, but South Carolina gets dudes on defense, man.
Thank you.
And Demetrius Knight Jr. in the second round. You talk about a team when I'm not so worried about pass rush right now until Trey Hendrickson isn't a Bengal anymore. But to me, you got to stop the run. When you're looking at Pittsburgh with their new rookie running back and Jalen Warren, the Ravens with Derrick Henry, the Browns with their great running backs, which we'll get into, you've got to find some answers. And Knight can be an answer in the run game. Yes, they got mostly defensive players, but their team needs defense. They fired their defensive coordinator, so it's a new look, and we'll see if they can actually stop people to help Joe Burrow this year.
Can they? We'll find out. Mike Pat, are you agreeing?
Well, for clarification, the thumbs down I gave was to Cincinnati in general, the Bengals in general, not necessarily the draft. I mean, I definitely understand the Shamar Stewart pick there in the first round. Big developmental upside. The Trey Hendrickson situation still kind of cloudy, unsure. Even if they don't trade him, do they re-sign him in the upcoming offseason with him becoming a free agent? I'm not sure. The two picks, Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter, two very good linebackers, by the way, very good linebackers. It was a little confusing to me because the Bengals already have Logan Wilson and I'm blanking on the other guy's name, which is terrible because he came from NC State, which is my alma mater. But yeah, they already had two quality linebackers and they signed a third in free agency. So I thought doubling up on linebacker was very interesting. I thought that they did an okay job of addressing the offensive line, although it definitely could have been better because that offensive line was horrid last year. Yeah. The other criticism I have is, yeah, they addressed the front seven really well, but they needed secondary help too. And they didn't get any secondary help in this draft. I thought that was very surprising. I think they got good players, but the fit and, you know, where all these guys are going is still a little confusing, and then not addressing the offensive line. But I am glad that they didn't do the joking thing we suggested on the mock draft show, which is draft a wide receiver in the first round.
Seriously. And yeah, the offensive line, that spoiler alert, that's where I'm going. But all right, what you got, Ralph?
I gave him a C because they drafted a lot. They drafted Stewart because they had to. We mentioned this on the other show the other day. They don't know what's happening with Hendrickson, and that's their main guy. So they had to do that, and they just went defense. I don't really think they need anything on offense, honestly. No. I didn't like the draft at all, but you know that's partly being me biased to, you know, an AFC North team. And yeah, I just think they just drafted because they needed to, the two linebackers there at the beginning, because they don't know whether or not they're going to have Trey Hendrickson or not. So short and sweet on the Bengals for me.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm with you. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2006-2007 Indianapolis Colts, just wearing stripes. You know, we're screw defense. We're just going to outscore you. That's what we're going to do. We're going to put up 49. You can score 38, but we're going to put up like 49, 50. It's going to be a basketball game on turf. I mean, that's what the NFL wants anyway. And there you go. Screw it. Defense, just slow him down. Trip him. I don't know. do something. Slow him down a little bit. You know, I mean, that's it. That's what they're going to want to do. I mean, it's I don't know. But here's the thing. At least the Colts had guys like, I don't know, Mathis and Dwight Freeney and Bob. Okay, good old Bob Sanders. I mean, look, at the end of the day, they still had some dudes. This defense, not so much. So, again, yeah. And again, I know, Penei Sewell was the guy, right? We all wanted to don't take Chase, protect Burrow. Okay, they took him. Cool. Coaching did good on the offensive line. Regardless, that's not gonna always happen, guys. In this crazy division, it's not always going to be the case. The Bengals need to wake freaking up, man. I know you have your stuff there going on with your offense. Your line is good, but how good are they really? And at the end of the day, you got to stop somebody. So, yeah, totally agree on that, guys. Bengals, they were okay. It wasn't – they had some pretty solid stuff there. I like Stewart. I thought that was pretty good. And I liked Knight. I did a lot. But really, I mean, I don't know. Are those the guys? Barrett Carter, I thought, was a great pickup as well. They're doing their best to address it. So, again, I liked what they did with these guys, that they're trying to add some depth there. But, again, look, we love these guys in the draft, right? But my thing is why are you trying to fill all your needs? These are rookies, guys. We know – free agency is where you probably should have tried to get some freaking dudes on defense, all right? They got some guys on defense here. Cool. But if they're just rookies and make some rookie mistakes, don't get mad, Bengals. That's your fault for not trying to get some vets. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. So, look, they did okay. They got what they needed, but I don't know.
All their money is tied up on their offense. The quarterback, the wide receivers.
That's it. So
I don't know.
Again,
you're paying $100 million a year to a quarterback and two receivers. That doesn't really give you much room to do much else.
That's what I'm saying. Right. Yeah, that's why I don't think Hendrickson. He's not coming back. Hendrickson. I don't think he's going to come back.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's something, man. So, the orange got a little bit darker or bright or whatever the hell you want to call that.
Back to back AFC North teams in Ohio.
Kaboom! We're going up north to talk about a team that I think completely effed up. I'm sorry. I can't hold it in. I'll go first. Hey,
I love it.
Why did you do that? You're stupid. Oh.
Yeah, I don't get it neither.
Guys, they seriously must have had a conversation with Mark Davis, and they were like, we're the worst team. No, we're the worst team. Hold my beer. I mean, they must have. I mean, what else could have happened? You guys are so stupid for this. I'm sorry. The trade was dumb. I don't have anything else to say. I seriously, they had some good picks. They did. I'm not going to slight these dudes that they picked. All right. Maybe I'll finish up at the end. They had an okay pick. Shador obviously was the dude, right? This was the guy, and we know. Okay, you got a dude here that, hey, at the end of the day, if he's what everyone says or whatever, you cut him. You don't owe him a lot of money. Cool. But look what they're doing. They know that they screwed up. They know they did something stupid because they got Watson, and now he's hurt, and then all that carousel of crap was going on. So we don't know what's going on. Dylan Gabriel, hey, I mean, what are the Browns doing? They're just going to plug and play, right? Hey, can you play this week? No. Hey, can you play this week? I mean, that's what they're doing. The Browns know that they're stupid. They know that they know. No, get me wrong. Dylan Sampson, cool. I love there were some guys that they picked up. Cool. Schweissinger, I like him a lot. UCLA dude. But really, you had Travis Hunter. Oh my gosh, you guys are stupid. Okay, I'm sorry. I just had to do that. Sorry. Okay. Ricky, how about you?
All right. Well, let's start with running backs. They got Judkins and Dylan Sampson in the 4th round. I think when you're looking at injured Nick Chubb and you got to find your running, this is your 1-2 combo of the future. You got Harold Fannin, who now you pair him with David Njoku, 2 really good tight ends there. The wild card to me, and look, Mason Graham, you put him on the defensive line with Myles Garrett. I mean, you could even say if you want to argue Hunter was not taking Hunter mistake, maybe not even taking Abdul Carter and pairing him with Garrett on the edges maybe was the mistake. We'll see in due time. But that's interesting to me. But the mistake of this draft to me isn't drafting Shador. It's drafting Dylan Gabriel. Did anybody watch the Rose Bowl? Did anybody watch how lost Oregon's offense was in that game? And that's in Pasadena. Let's put him in Cleveland when it's 20 degrees and he can't, and in the wind. That's when, and for those who don't know, I was in the chat on our group page, and I felt like the biggest Shador defender on this network because I kept saying, the fact that the Browns thought to take Gabriel over Shador in the first place was ridiculous because I could get Milrow because he's a project and you could work with him. McDonald worked with Lamar. I get it. Shador to me is the difference maker in this draft. And the reason why is a lot of the floor Shador comparisons are Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins' best years were at Kevin Stefanski. So now you're giving Shador that same guy. You're giving him, I think, if he can win the job and if he can maybe work on some of the stuff, maybe not come unprepared to an interview like he did apparently with Brian Dable. there's stuff he's got to work on for sure. But Jimmy Haslam and Deion Sanders have that connection somewhere. It's possibly the case. I think he can win this job. Maybe not this year, but you look at Flacco, he can learn from. Maybe even Pickett, he can learn a little bit from, especially dropping late first round. I think Sanders can work in Cleveland. He had good tape. He's accurate. He does a lot of things well. He needs protection. He had no protection at Colorado. If you give him protection, he's going to make plays. And I think getting him here could be a blessing in disguise for this organization, because I think worst case, and like Mike said, it's incomplete. They also have 2 1s and 26. I think people they're not looking for this year. When Deshaun Watson got hurt, this year was over. It's now about putting yourself in the position to draft big next year. And if they don't want, if Shador pans out or Gabriel pans out, whoever, they don't have to take quarterback next year. And with a loaded quarterback class, they have 2 1s. They can even get more. So Andrew Berry is clearly playing the long game. I think incomplete, yes, but a chance for it to be good if things can pan out, and maybe Shador hits for them.
Way to make that better. I can see a mess. It's hard for me to look at the Browns and take them serious, but you, good sir, have done that today. Thank you for that. Take a bow. That was wonderful. Yes. Wow. Damn. Okay. Well, Mike Pat, how can you follow that one?
Look, drafts like these are the reason why the "we'll see" category exists. Because this is a very much of a "we'll see." You've got so many components that you really have to, in order to not be negative about it, you really have to be we give them a few years, we give them a few years, we give them a few years before we judge. Because obviously you've got the trade at the top, passing on Travis Hunter, who would have fit this roster really well. You get a defensive tackle, Mason Graham, going to be impactful, I think. And then you've got obviously the quarterback situation that's self-inflicted. Nobody forced you to take both. That was your decision, so that was weird. And then obviously you've got the pick next year. I think Ricky does make a good point in that maybe that was the intention, was to, punt this to 2026, essentially. Maybe with 2 first, maybe either A, we'll suck enough to get the first overall pick and we can go get Archie Manning, or B, we'll have 2 first-round picks to make a trade with to go up to get Archie Manning. Maybe that's the logic there. Or maybe they're like, hey, Shador's going to be the guy. I also don't understand how they don't address the left tackle spot. Right now, their left tackle options are 34-year-old Cornelius Lucas and a young DeJuan Jones, 6'8", 375, who was the 123rd rated offensive tackle in the NFL per Pro Football Focus last year. That's not a great place to be. Now, but the problem is you look at the draft, you look at the way the draft threw out is, well, where do you go and get that guy? You're probably not taking him at 5, especially with Will Campbell off the board. And probably your best choice for the beginning of the second round went 1 pick before your pick when the Chiefs got Josh Simmons at 32. And then Josh Connerly going to the Commanders might have thrown that off as well. So we'll see.
I like that. We'll see. That good stuff down there. Okay, Ralph, the guy who I think hates the Browns more than anybody here. Good sir, what you got?
No. The Browns aren't my worst AFC North hated team. You know that. No, all I'll say is like Ricky said, maybe he's all like Ricky said, did they do this for the 2 picks? Because I mean, you could have had Travis Hunter. This guy, like I said at the beginning, I think he was the best player in the draft in my eyes. I think he's the best player in the draft. What do the Browns need besides? I mean, now they have 7 quarterbacks. I mean, how are they going to juggle this when it comes around to who's going to start, who's going to be the starter or whatever?
High school.
And then you drafted, like Ricky said, you drafted Dylan Gabriel. Nobody knew Shador was going to drop this much. But if you drafted Gabriel, why did you draft Secure there? If you knew, you wanted him. Obviously they wanted him. I mean, Jen B was saying that her husband was so giddy that they thought they were going to take him at 2. At 2. Could you imagine if they did that? But no, I was going to say, Travis Hunter would have fit them perfect. They need a wide receiver. Obviously, this kid wasn't going to a team if he wasn't going to play both positions. That's what he said. He could have been there. He could have been a wide receiver, lockdown quarterback, a cornerback. I mean, the two positives out of this that I get out of their draft, and I give them a C, by the way. Like Ricky said, the 2 first-round picks, we'll see. Like Mike said, we'll see. And Mason Graham teaming up with Myles Garrett, that could be a scary defensive line. And the one thing that's bothering me about Shakur Sanders, because we'll get to the Steelers pick. I originally thought that's who the Steelers were going to pick. And he made the comment, whoever doesn't draft me and I get the chance to come back and play them, you're in trouble. And that's what sticks in my head about that.
Oh boy. Well, let's see how much in trouble everybody is. Okay. We'll see how things go. And with the Browns, we're definitely gonna see how things go. So anyway, good stuff there, Ricky. I like the analysis. Everybody here, that was a good job. That was fun. So okay, there you have it. We're switching on over to Dallas. The Dallas Cowboys. All right, guys. Well, I mean, cool. I mean, again, you heard I loved that Booker pick. How about, Izraku, this guy solid out of Boston College, second round. Look, overall, it wasn't these guys did what was needed. Again, now it's really up to you, Dak. I mean, this can't go any other way. I'm intrigued to see what you guys got to say about this, but to me, I just think this is it, Dak. Like, this is it, bro. Like, prove it. Like, again, you have no excuses. And that's really all I got to say about Dallas. That was short and sweet. Ricky, what you got?
I want to add one more about Mike's point with Arch Manning. Can you imagine Dion's son trying to keep a job and the Mannings, who were the ones who orchestrated the first, I'm not going anywhere I don't want to be?
Oh, my God.
At least Dion doesn't want to coach the Browns.
It's going to be a circus.
But the Cowboys, look, Tyler Booker, like you said, Larry, is going to help their offensive line. I think if Tet was on the board at 12, he would have been the pick there, because I think you need that number 2 with CeeDee Lamb. I think that's still the weak point in this draft, is that they didn't get that player. Nonetheless, the edge rusher from BC, like you said, is solid. The corner from East Carolina, Siobhan Ravel, is solid. My pick for me that I liked that they addressed running back, because they really got to get some running backs.
Oh, yeah.
If you watch the game against Clemson in the playoff, Jaden Blue got some speed, 5'9", 196. This is a player that, yes, he's not the biggest player, but he can move. And I like him. And Phil Maffa from Clemson's another one. He's kind of that pound back, 230 pounds. They kind of have a good mix in that backfield along with Rico Dowdle. So they've got those players that kind of be that future rushing attack for Dak. I think they're the difference makers to me. But I still think, if Jerry knew that Tet was going to go earlier, they would have made a bold move to move up.
It's so freaking true. Mike, what you got?
I mean, I hate the Booker pick in that, dadgummit, to the Cowboys have to have a good offensive line, like, for crying out loud. Like, we get Zach Martin retired. We're like, okay, cool, we're done with him. The first round pick, the Cowboys select Tyler Booker. I let out an expletive, gentlemen, when that pick came across. I was like, are you kidding me? Now we have to deal with this guy. I love the pick. I love the Izurawaku pick in the second round. Excellent value there. Siobhan Ravel, I did not know this. Trevon Diggs and Deron Bland, their starting corners, combined to miss like a season's worth of games last year. I did not realize this. So Ravel, great insurance pick, good boundary corner there. Like Ricky said, the running backs. I'm going to highlight this one pick, and this pick really makes me like this draft. I don't quite love it because I do think they needed a receiver, and they did not go that route. But Ajanai Cornelius, offensive tackle out of Oregon, this guy had 50 collegiate starts at right tackle. That is a lot of experience. He may not be a day one starter, but he's a guy, he's going to come in. He's going to have that experience behind him. He's going to have that coaching behind him that, will give him a little bit of an advantage, maybe as a multi-way backup. and you need offensive line depth. We talked about it in the pre-draft show. I mean, with the new 17-game schedule, you need 6 minimum starting caliber offensive linemen these days. Really, probably 7, but you can get by with 6. And I think the Cowboys did a good job. And I hate to say it, but man, did I like this draft.
You know what? They did a really good job. They did. Ralph, what you think?
I gave him an A. And it was all in those first 3 picks. It was all in the first 3 picks. The offensive line, the guard, the end, and the cornerback. All 3 of these guys were rated in the top 75 of the prospect range, and they got 3 of them in 76 picks. That's a win right there to me. So I think they did awesome. And like you said, Larry, it's all on Dak now.
Yeah, there is no excuse.
I mean, how many more excuses can you have?
Yeah, like I said, you got the walls of Troy in front of you. Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah. So I give him an A. I give him an A for the draft.
They did what they needed. Jerry did what he needed, but I don't know. Is his quarterback going to follow through? We'll find out. Now to a team where I only have a few things to say, and we're going back to Orange. I have a few things. That is seriously all I've got. Really, we talked about the first round. Wow, it was stupid. Okay, yeah, you got your dude, cool, I guess, but I don't know. At the end of the day, look, they were okay. The Harvey pick, solid. Pat Bryant, you know what? Cool. Let's see what he's got. Jones, obviously, look, they had a pretty okay draft, but when I say okay, I seriously mean just okay. Look, they're good. They got themselves a team. They're moving forward. They're going to be better than the Raiders, okay? But at least possibly, because everyone seems to be on that level. But okay. But overall, guys, I don't know. I didn't see anything special here. And again, I hate to sit here and bash on somebody that because of rivalries, or the rivalry, I'd hate to sit here and just feed into it. But I don't know. I didn't see anything special here. I think Denver probably could have done a lot better. They did good, but decent is the best I can go. Ricky, what you got?
Well, I think one thing Denver did get depth on their edge rush when you look at Savion Jones from LSU and K. Robinson from Alabama. So they get their depth on defense, which is key. Barron, I knew, was one of those guys I was worried the Jets would take him because Jahdae Barron reminded Aaron Glenn of himself, and I was hoping that was just a smoke screen and it ended up being a smoke screen. But actually, I like the R.J. Harvey pick because this guy that can move 4.4 in the 40, and Sean Payton could probably do some really cool things with him in that offense.
Right.
So at least they did help Bo Nix there. And like you said, Pat Bryant from Illinois, really intriguing player, and he's not going to be expected to do a lot right away when you look at Sutton and Marvin Mims. I think Harvey could be the guy that we talk about this draft. I don't think Barron is bad, but again, Denver had a chance to take Amari and Hampton, and I feel like they're going to regret that down the road because of how good of a player Hampton can be.
So freaking true, Mike Pat.
Yeah, I mean, this was just a questionable one for Denver, I think, as a whole. I think, Barron, really good player. I had him, I think, going 17 to the Bengals in our mock. So 20, the value was right. But I mean, so ESPN, they list their, what they think the needs are for the teams. It's not perfect. But usually they're pretty spot on. And not only was cornerback not listed on the needs list, there wasn't even anything adjacent to cornerback listed on the needs list. And the real key to me, the key with your first round pick, you either got to take a bad position and make it good, or you got to take a good position group and make it great.
Yes.
But Denver's secondary was already one of the better ones in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So, why are you going to take a very good player and add him to a very good position group? How much does he really move the needle for you with that pick? Harvey, good player, value, decent value. Pat Bryant, I thought was a little bit of a reach in the third round. I thought there were other receivers they could have gotten there that might have been a little bit more helpful. It was just okay. At the end of the day, kind of like you said, Larry, it was just okay. I would say probably of all of the ones we've reviewed so far, I'd say probably one of the weaker ones as a whole. Just didn't excite me. For a team that surprisingly made the playoffs last year, you'd think their goal would be, all right, Let's take that next step. Let's actually try to challenge the Chiefs in the division. I don't think this is the draft that's going to get them there.
Freaking, I love it. Yes, and yes. Ralph, end us off well.
I mean, do we know who Denver's offensive line is? Because
no,
they didn't draft any offensive linemen. They drafted Barron, like we said, like we're all saying. Yeah, he's a good player. He's gonna work well with Surtain because he's probably gonna learn from him too. Then they drafted Harvey, which it says Peyton thinks he could be the next Alvin Kamara. So I don't know if Sean Payton, what he's smoking out there or something. I don't know. Then a wide receiver, Bryant, another end, and they even drafted a punter. I didn't even know that. I'm just looking through their picks now.
Yeah,
they drafted, so they did nothing here. I don't know. Am I missing something? Is their offensive line like great? I don't even know. I don't even know, honestly.
It's not bad. It's not the greatest in the league, but it's not bad.
They don't have anything here to excite me, really.
Exactly.
For the off, even their picks. I mean, yeah, I gave him a C. I gave him a C.
At best. So we're going to move forward now, and this one is going to be fun because, well, there's a guy who's going to pop in here with his Honolulu Blues. No, he's actually not wearing it, but it's okay. Well, our very own Christian Harvey, speaking of Harvey, is going to jump in real quick, give you his real quick wrap up of this. And, well, guys, I guess we'll just piggyback off of him. What do you think about what he says? Let's find out what he said first. Christian Harvey, the mic is yours, good sir.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Christian, your host of your Detroit and Michigan sports show, Gritsville USA, exclusively on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. I know on Thursday night I did talk about our first round pick, Tyleik Williams, and to be honest, I kind of warmed up to it a little bit more. I came to the realization that more likely than not, for our team, he was the best available player. I know that Brad Holmes had discussed wanting to trade up for an edge rusher. No trades has panned out. I'm perfectly fine with the pick. I love the Tate Ratledge pick so much. I think he's going to be a perfect fit. I know that we had a huge glaring hole at guard with the loss of Kevin Zeitler and Graham Glasgow not being formidable. Then the Lions did something, in my opinion, pretty controversial. They jumped up 32 spots in the third round to draft wide receiver from Arkansas and Michigan homegrown Isaac TeSlaa. Gave up 2 future third rounds in order to do so. So Brad Holmes must have really liked him and must have gotten word that he was going to be gone way before 102, which is why Brad made the move. I don't know. I think that's a lot to give for a wide receiver, especially when we already have Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams, but we'll see. I absolutely loved the day 3 picks today, especially Ahmed Hassanein. I think I'm saying his name right. I'm not sure, but he looks like an absolute dog. The passion is there. He is a Dan Campbell Detroit Lions guy. He's going to be one of my future all-time players. I can just feel it. Overall, in my opinion, a successful draft, one with still plenty of questions, but I don't mind it. Can't wait to see what we get from these guys.
Well, which of them is going to be biting kneecaps first? We're going to find out. Good old Dan Campbell. Hey, he's ready to roll, man.
I like
that.
Kneecaps.
Dan Campbell. This guy. Well, yeah, it was. Look, I can't say anything bad about this. I know, but Christian did not like Tyleik Williams at first. I mean, it's not horrible. Hey, you know what? They got themselves a big boy. I'm okay with that. But Ratledge was pretty solid. I think that was a very good pick in the second round because, damn it, the dude can play great. But, yeah, the TeSlaa pick, that was kind of crazy to give up a lot to get him there. So, overall, look, I thought they did pretty well. I like what they did. I think they were able to do. They added some depth where it was needed. First round was a little bit of a head scratcher. To me, it was it was good. It was not great. It wasn't just okay. Maybe it's on the border of okay and good for me. I don't know. But overall, hey, the Detroit Lions, are a team that are seriously a competitor this year.
Yeah.
They were last year. And I mean, what more? I mean, I guess they're just adding depth right now. So, I mean, what more do you really want? This team has what they need right now, and they added depth. So good for them. So that's, short and sweet for me. Ricky, what you got?
Well, we joke about Dan Campbell, but this draft for Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell is kind of built around the identity of this team. I mean, you look at adding in the trenches with Williams, adding in the trenches with Ratledge, adding with Miles Frazier in the 5th round. Like, they are looking more, and the Lions want to build that depth because they dealt with so many injuries on some key positions last year. So that they'll add those things to slots. It could be a reach, like Christian said, when you trade all that capital, that guy better be good. We heard about the Jamison Williams rumors during the draft, but they're going to pick up the option on him, which I think is the more big news at the draft for the Lions compared to what they actually picked, because we got to see what Jamison Williams can actually be. But considering this team needed to continue to build their depth, both offensive line and on defense, it's not horrible. And I think the definer of this draft could be Ratledge, because it's a guy who's won and could be helpful that offensive line.
No, totally agree. What you got, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about Detroit is, I mean, going into the draft, I mean, they didn't really have many glaring holes to fill as a whole. I mean, I did say guard, and I think I had them with a guard in our mock draft challenge. Actually, no, I had them taking Donovan Izuraku, so never mind on that. But I did, offensive guard as a need, and they addressed it very well with one of the guys who I thought was one of the top guards in the draft in Ratledge. So that was a good pick. Miles Frazier was a good pick. But, I mean, this team, I mean, like Ricky said, just building the depth, and they didn't really have a ton of glaring needs. I don't mind it. It's exactly what it needed to do, build some depth.
It's exactly what they did, and I love it. It was great. Ralph?
Yeah, Detroit's going to be a competitive team, and I agree with everything that all you guys said. All the picks here seem like they're all picks to better them. I do like this pick from Arkansas, but the wide receiver. He looks like he's going to round out the wide receiving core out there. So maybe they did get something there with Isaac Teslay. I don't know if I'm saying his name right.
Oh, yeah, Teslaw.
Teslaw, yeah. So
we'll see.
But yeah, hey, they're going to vie for they're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to vie for the championship, and that's I don't have a problem. I give them a B+ for their draft.
They look good. They got what they needed. So moving on to this next team. Well, this is the host of the draft, and boy, did I love all the shots at this team. Oh, especially from the Bears. Seth Rollins showing up, the wrestler.
Oh, that was great.
Detroit cats up there saying stuff. Oh, it was funny. We even had some Vikings knocks in there. That was a lot of fun, man. Well, this team, of course, again, the host from the place that some people will say one of the greatest places to ever witness a football game in Lambeau. Well, we shall see. If this team can be a team that can, maybe in the future years bring the Lombardi back. Well, we'll find out. But the Green Bay Packers, man, this was I don't really know what to say, man. They did the picks were pretty damn good. I mean, Golden first pick since 2002. We talked about this earlier. You did. I know, Mike Pat, our very own Mr. Dan, man. I'll tell you right now, this dude right here had one hell of a draft video compilation for us here at High Sports Radio, and he was really saying how he felt. He was so excited for Matthew Golden. I thought that was a great pick there. Belton was solid. Keep on protecting Love. Savion Williams, I love it. The Raiders got his counter side over there, and big. I loved it overall. To me, they couldn't do no wrong. This was a really good draft for these guys. Maybe you guys disagree. I have no idea. I'm excited to see what you guys say. But overall, I think the Packers actually took care of business in this draft. So, okay, let's see. Ricky, what you got?
Well, not taking just Golden, but 2 receivers at your first 3 picks kind of is an indictment on the wide receiver room as a whole, because you have the injuries to Christian Watson, the injuries and the, questionable decision-making by Romeo Doubs. You kind of now looking to make upgrades. And I think what they have with both Williams and Golden to go with Reed is, hey, I can throw him the ball in space. I can throw him the ball deep. hey, I might even ham the ball and run with him a little bit when those like running wide receiver sweep kind of plays that LaFleur likes to do. So he's kind of got some versatility, a little bit of surprise thrown in. I think, though, that the big key in this draft, and I love the Baron Sorrell moment, by the way, today, 4th round pick that got a chance to go on stage in Green Bay. That was pretty cool. But the big one is Belton, because we talked about the Packers' weapons last year. They lost to the Eagles because nobody on the offensive line stayed healthy the whole game. If they just get somebody and Belton maybe develops over time, the guy's 6'6", 336. That's a dude. That is one guy you want, and he's been a starter basically his whole college career. So it's a developmental project, but it's not that much of a project. It's not going to be the receivers that make this draft as great as Golden is. It's going to be if Belton is the linchpin left tackle that Jordan Love needs.
Yeah. Well, very well said, guys. Yeah, well, very well said, Ricky. I like it. You got some similarities there, some differences. So, Mike, Pat, what you got?
Well, I think Ricky had an unintentional pun saying that Belton was the big deal because he is the big deal from this draft class. This dude, you know, one of my favorite terms, Larry B, you and I would say it every year, those hog mollies up on the front line. And this guy is definitely that, but surprisingly agile and nimble for a man that size. Very sound pass blocker. He's a guy who I was very curious about because, again, NC State, the NC State connection here. I'm in Raleigh, so you know I see an NC State player. I'm like, ooh, okay, let's look up on this guy. Just very intriguing package. And I think you know Green Bay trying to secure their left tackle spot, which they've kind of gotten away with a former 7th rounder, Rasheed Walker, being surprisingly good at that spot for a couple years. But I think they're like, okay, well, maybe we've got an opportunity to shore it out. But yeah, it's about these receivers. It's about these weapons. And I thought Ricky made a good point. These are guys, just get them the ball.
Yeah.
Get them the ball and let them do the damage. However you got to do it. You know, Golden's quick, shifty, fast. Savion Williams becomes a running back when he gets the ball in his hands at 6'4", 225. He just starts bulldozing people all over the field. Their late day 3 picks kind of felt like they were just throwing darts at a board and seeing what name they were getting. But other than that, I mean, this was a really solid draft, and I thought they hit some big needs, especially with those first 4 picks.
They really did. They really finished us off, Ralph. That was good stuff there, guys.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Mike how he said that at the end, that they were throwing darts at the board there for the last 3 picks. But it was all in the first 3 picks. Golden was a great pick, and I looked at the draft in the way of how Green Bay did it, and it was really good. And I heard on ESPN today that it was the most watched draft, I think, on TV so far, because next year the draft is in Pittsburgh. And I don't know if you guys,
it is.
I don't know if you guys know where Pittsburgh Point is. It's where the 3 rivers come together, and it's that round spot.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's where they're setting the stage up for the players to walk out on. It's going to be an insane scene. And I was just watching the draft, you know, the past couple of days, saying I hope the Steelers don't screw it up, because it was really good in Green Bay, and it's going to be awesome next year. I know it is. I know it. My son already wants to go. He's like, we got to go. But yeah, anyway, first 3 picks, I think, was their draft. And I think, like Mike said, throwing darts with the rest of the picks. I did hear today that the kid Sorrell, he must have been there in Green Bay already before they even drafted him. And I was listening to Sirius NFL on the way home on my car today, and they were waiting to interview him. And they said it took him an hour to get on the stage before he could get through the crowd, because he was crazy. He was just like, because like you said, you know, a draft in Green Bay is like insane. He couldn't get through the crowd to get to the stage because whatever he was doing, signing on and talking to me. He goes, hey, the guy goes, hey, we're waiting for an hour to talk to this guy. I just found that funny.
That is pretty funny, man.
Overall, I gave them a B.
They did pretty good, didn't they? And you know what? Good job for them. They were a good host. There you go. So, All right, guys. So we're coming up on 2 hours here. So I'm going to start going a little bit faster. My apologies. I know we still got a lot of teams to get through. So let's go ahead and hyperspeed this sucker and, switch on over to a team from Houston. And, let's just say they have some red in their team. And, wow, they really like that. they like that little crimsonish color because boy, were they enjoying themselves, some SC players. But short and sweet, guys. They traded out the first round. They did what they had to do. You know what? Screw it. They have a team that's a competitor. They look good. They went out and got Ursay. I thought he was monster, another hog molly there, as we will, Mike, out of Minnesota. Obviously, Higgins was their first dude in the second round, but those two guys in the second round was great. Noel was a great pickup there, another wide receiver. Get some more weapons. I love it. Woody Marks and Jalen Smith, a corner and a running back out of SC. Look, I mean, Reed out of Penn State. This was solid. You know what? I honestly see no problem here. Texans, again, a team that's a competitor. They did what they had to do. Good for them. Moving on. Ricky, what you got?
2 Iowa State wide receivers. The Texans might as well have drafted the Iowa State quarterback while they were at it. Might have been better off than Graham Mertz. But nevertheless, I love Jaden Higgins. I love Jalen Noel. I was reading online that Higgins' comparison is Nico Collins. So DJ Stroud gets a second Nico Collins. That works out. And Noel's lightning quick. I think, though, Ursay is the big player in this draft because you don't trade away Laramie Tunsil and not replace your offensive line. He's going to be relied upon in a big way. But I like that Houston went out and got wide receivers. I mean, that's really the key with no more Diggs and Tank Dell sadly battling injuries every year. I actually think Jaden Higgins, the guy everybody wanted, to be an impactful player next year.
I agree.
Yeah, what you got for us, Mike?
Yeah, and Ricky with another pun about the offensive lineman being the big deal there. I don't even know if he realized that one.
Big deal.
But
I don't think he realizes it either.
I don't think I'm catching this, but this is good.
Yeah. He's seeing okay.
You know, I like the Ursay pick. I like his size. I wonder if he's that left tackle replacement for Tunsil. That's going to be the big key. Obviously, they signed Cam Robinson in free agency to kind of hold that gap. But no, this was a good draft. They addressed a lot of needs. Very active. Every single pick in this draft was traded. Every single one of them.
Wow,
so a lot of movement, a lot of activity, either before the draft or on draft night. But I really like their last pick. Larry B, I don't know if you're seeing that last guy who was on that list, but this was a guy we talked about in the pre-draft show or the pre-combine show. And you can't go wrong with an Iowa tight end. And they got one late 7th and Luke Leachy. You never know. But no, this was a solid draft overall. I liked it.
They did pretty good, didn't they? All right. What about you, Ralph? End us off well.
All right, I'm not gonna delve into all the players like because Mike and Ricky already did that. I'm just gonna I gave them a B, but I did have Jaden Higgins on the other show as my must-watch player after we did the first round show. So I really like him, and they drafted Jalen Reed from Penn State. So as me following Penn State on the injury report, I think they got a good player there in the 6th round. He's really physical cornerback. And just to touch on the Lachey kid, it's Jim Lachey's son. Jim Lachey, who used to play in the NFL.
So there you go.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. I mean, hey, Texas did themselves a favor. Let's go. I like it. They did their thing. And, well, they got some foes in that division. And, well, they have a little horseshoe on their helmet. And there's a guy here who has a little horseshoe on his jersey. I would like to say a few things about them Colts to start things off. So, ladies and gentlemen, listening, of course, all of you, thank you for tuning in tonight. Here is our very own Big Mike, because we like to have mics here. We have mics on this on this network. Yeah, so Big Mike, if you will, of Indie Sports Nation. Catch him on Fridays here on IE Sports Radio. Let's hear what he has to say about them Colts.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Big Mike here from Indie Sports Nation right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. And the draft has come to a conclusion. And overall, there's some good parts for the Colts, I think. There's some other, maybe a couple head scratchers. Run through it real quick. Obviously, for me, Tyler Warren and JTT out of Ohio State, I love both of those picks. I think those guys are going to contribute right away. Round 3 pick of Justin Wally. That's a head scratcher to some. I don't mind it. Secondary, defensive backfield has been an issue for the Colts for as long as I can remember. Depth has not been there. Add some depth to that. You can see him on some special teams as well. We will see. That's a head scratch. It's a little bit of a scratcher. I can understand. Maybe they could have got him later, but we'll see how this shakes out. Jalen Thomas, offensive tackle, 4th round. The dude's a monster of a man, 6'8", almost 340 pounds. Just a monster dude. Add some depth to the O-line. My favorite one of today, DJ Giddens out of Kansas State. That dude can run, quick speed. He's quick. He can come out of the backfield. I think he could be a great complement to Jonathan Taylor. This is going to be a run-heavy offense. Get some guys, get some backs out of the backfield, short passes. He could really contribute there. I almost saved the most controversial one for last, but we traded back today to get two. We get an additional 6th-round pick. Tim Smith, the D tackle from Alabama, and then the last pick was Hunter Waller out of Wisconsin. Safety linebacker is going to be more of a linebacker, I think. But the controversial one with the other 6 picks, quarterback Riley Leonard from Notre Dame. People here are pretty upset about that one. I don't know why they're so upset. He's probably not going to see the field anyway, but they've been following him for a long time. He does his style fits this whole running quarterback type of scheme that they run. I'm not losing my mind over it, but, whatever. I don't think you'll see the field. Overall, okay. We'll see how it translates on the field. That's all that really matters. Have a great weekend, everybody.
And there you have it, man. Big Mike is laying it out there. Okay, some he liked, some he didn't. Well, let's see. Let's see how this goes with you guys here. But the Indianapolis Colts, they were okay. They took Warren. How did nobody like that? Big Mike even said it. Some people didn't like it. How? That's the guy. That's the dude you want. I thought that was great. The rest of your picks, pretty solid. Overall, you know what? Tumalu, good pick there at Ohio State. You got some good stuff there with Wally. I think he was a hell of a player. I think he could have been a 2nd-rounder corner there. So you know what? They did pretty well. Let's see what they do, though, with it. Overall, they had a good, in my opinion, it was good. Good. Not great. Not bad. Good. So overall, all right. There you go. Ricky, tell us.
Well, I love JTT from Ohio State. I mean, that's a player that makes big plays on the biggest stage. Tyler Warren's a great pick for me. It's a home run, just as a game changer for the Colts at tight end. Mm-hmm. I love DJ Giddens. To me, like watching him in the bowl game against Rutgers, he was insanely good. And to get any plays off for Jonathan Taylor is a bonus to keep him healthy. I don't get the hate with Riley Leonard. It's like Big Mike was saying. He's not going to get to play, and guess who gets to learn from? A former Duke quarterback in Daniel Jones. Yes. So he has a solid mentor in that room. He's a leader. Like, I think one thing you draft, like intangibles, Jordan Travis, like for example with the Jets, kind of that intangible type play. Guys want to run through a wall for Riley Leonard, so he could be if he's not a good quarterback, he's at least a good leader to have in that locker room, and there's value for that.
That's for damn sure. Well said, Mike Pat. What you got?
I mean, Tyler Warren had to be that pick after he dropped to 14. They desperately needed a tight end, and he was by far the best one on the board, especially at that point with Loveland gone. And by the way, every mock draft except one in the challenge had Colston Loveland going That's to crazy. Indy. So everybody at least had the tight end part right there. So everybody gets credit there. Yeah, I mean, I really like that Tim Smith pick on day 3. These Bama defensive linemen, they're really good at stopping the run, really good at clogging those gaps, the A gaps and the B gaps. So I think that'll be really helpful on the defensive side of the ball. But at the end of the day, it's always hard to get excited about the Colts when what's going on at quarterback. Like, I'm not saying they should have taken a quarterback, but all of this draft, it's not going to matter if Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones can't figure this out.
That is as true as it possibly can get. Oh my gosh, I can go into that for a half an hour, but we don't have that much. So what you got for us? Ralph?
I just said it's my favorite pick in a draft. This was my favorite pick, Tyler Warren, of course, because again, following him with Penn State all year, and I fell in love with this kid. I think this was a great pick for Indianapolis. As far as the other guys, like you guys mentioned, it's really nothing. DJ Giddens probably is the other good pick that I would say was good for them here. I did hear a rumor during the draft, late Thursday night, the first day of the draft, that the Steelers were talking to Indianapolis about Anthony Richardson. But they could. I don't know if it was true or not. I was going to put it out there to Big Mike, but I didn't want to slug. It's rumors out there in social media land. But it wound up that they said they just couldn't come to a deal for it. So I don't know if it was BS or what. But
how about that?
I was pretty bugging out about that. But I gave them a B+ for their draft.
Yeah, you know what? Solid draft, right? I could say around the same. It wasn't great, wasn't bad. It was around the middle. Good stuff there. We're going to head on over now down back to Florida. Not back to Florida. I think we've been there at all this time. So this is our first Florida team of the night. We're heading over to Northern Florida. Duval. Well, hey, the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're the Jacksonville Jaguars, everybody. What else do you say? Look. Okay, how do I make this short and sweet? Okay, what? Damn it, this is hard for me. This is a hard one because I have a lot to say. But overall, look, they did what they had to do. They went up. They got their dude. If they're bad, I mean, seriously, man, how do you get Travis Hunter? And overall, they have a solid-ish kind of team that can be good and then be horrible the next week. That's what the Jags do. Ransaw I thought was a really good pick in the third and overall, and Millam all as well out of West Virginia for that offensive line. But overall, look, they went up and got this dude in Travis Hunter. I know he's not going to be the whole team. I know they still have a lot of things to address. Again, I guess I could say it was good. They made a trade. They gave some stuff away here. But overall, I don't know. I mean, let's see if it was worth the gamble. I'm excited to see what you guys have to say about it. Ricky, what you got?
James Gladstone comes from a place that, didn't like first-round picks. So it makes sense that he doesn't want a first-round pick next year. But Travis Hunter, look, he's going to be an impactful player if he's healthy. Doesn't matter where you play him. I think he is going to be an impact guy. And if it's just, to me, it's going to help a guy like Brian Thomas because now everybody's going to go for Hunter, and Thomas could have an impact next year, even more so than he did this year. I think Tootin from Virginia Tech's a good pick as well. And I think adding 2 running backs in this draft locally, LaQuint Allen from Syracuse. This guy had a really strong year last year, 16 rushing touchdowns, and he caught the ball out of the backfield. So if it's not Tootin's speed, it's LaQuint Allen's combo of rushing and receiving. That could be a good running back battle in training camp.
That's solid. What you got on that, Mike?
You stole one of my guys in the early fourth with my Shul Tuten, a guy who
They're stealing each other's guys. That's why
I followed him all year. He was the guy at Virginia Tech. He was the only thing to get excited about week in and week out. So I was hoping he would stay in the DMV. Jacksonville snatched him, and I was like, because that's a really good pick. Look, I liked that they addressed the offensive line. Continue to address it. They addressed it in free agency. Now they address it with Millam and Jonah Monheim, who I think is going to be a really interesting backup in the NFL. They helped out the running back core, which was key. They helped out the front 7. Would have liked to seen them address the defensive line because the defensive line is okay, not great. Yes, they have some good pass rushers, but they don't have depth there, and the interior isn't fantastic. But look, when you make a trade like they did, the rest of the draft, whether it's right or wrong, by the way, kind of becomes irrelevant. It's all going to be, does Travis Hunter work out, and does that first-round pick next year not burn you? And so, like I said, kind of like Cleveland's the definition of we'll see, this one's also kind of in the we'll see category because even though I really did like their late day 2 and day 3 picks, that's what this is all going to come down to.
Freaking yes. Oh my gosh, let's see what's going on in that chat over there. What's going on, Marcus Lowe's great. Thanks for tuning in, man. All right, Ralph, what you got for us, man?
Mike Pat hit it right there. It's all about the trade. Like I said, I thought he was the best player in the draft. They got aggressive. They went for it. And it's just going to see now how he's going to be on the team and how their draft, what their positions they're giving up with the 2 number 1 picks. And that's basically what I feel their draft was all about, was about that trade.
It really was.
By the way, ESPN preliminarily has Hunter listed as the number 3 receiver and the number 4 corner on the depth chart.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Well, look what we have here. Look what we have here. Let's see what goes on with these Jaguars this year. I mean, again, they're such a weird football team. Again, we have no idea what's going on with these guys ever. So I guess this is just continuing the head scratching of what's going to happen. We have no idea. But a team who does, at least we do have an idea. I think we're sick of seeing this color red because, they kind of just like to win lots of football games. And if anybody should be mad about them, it's me because I'm in their damn division. Regardless, I'll tell you right now, this is a very good football team with a very good quarterback and a very good coach. And, did they have a very good draft? Look, the Kansas City Chiefs, just went and got a guy that, again, injuries. Okay, they plagued him. This is why he fell so far. He's going to heal up now and be freaking dominant. And gosh damn it, here we go again. Regardless, though, look, man, Norman Lott, great. I love that out of Tennessee. Solid. Gillette, another one out of Louisville. They are stacking the defensive line. They got Williams out of Cal in the third round. This is Royals is a guy I loved seeing out from the Aggies. From Utah State. Look, guys, they did pretty solid. The Chiefs, the Risky Richer, I liked their draft. What could I say? I can't be a hater. What you got, Ricky?
Yeah, I was going to bring up to me the X factor of this draft, Jalen Royals, and get him in the fourth round. You just get another speed guy to go with Xavier Worthy. So Pat Mahomes is getting guys that you can just hand the ball to, whether it be throwing him the ball, hand him on a toss play, just giving him more weapons again. And I love when they continue to build depth. No Williams, a corner. They always seem to find those day two defensive guys that end up making an impact in the postseason. So Chiefs do what they usually do.
Very well said. Mike Pat.
I mean, somebody tell me the complaints they have with this draft. I'm looking down the list. I can't see what you can complain about here. I mean, they hit on all of their needs. They got great value throughout. They got good players. Jeffrey Bassa in the fifth round was an excellent pick. I think he's going to be a good linebacker in the league. Just no complaints other than the stinking Chiefs get to keep being good.
Why? Ralph, tell us why.
I think after the Super Bowl, when Andy Reid saw what the hell was going on with Patrick Mahomes, he made it a point. This is not happening again. And the respect that guy demands, and that's why they traded up and they got this kid. And I think it was a great pick. And I gave them an A overall. And I'm just reading here that the guy Ricky mentioned, the kid Jalen Royals, it said on this site here that it was the 60th overall player on their board. And they picked him at 133. So that's
insane.
Good value there, I guess.
Oh, talk about some value, man. These guys, it's the Chiefs. It's the Chiefs, and the Chiefs do what the Chiefs do. But there's another team in this division that, seem to do things that just don't ever make sense. And you know something? Gentlemen, I'm going to surprise the living hell out of you guys because you know what? Good job, Raiders. Good job. I can't be mad. Number one thing, we're horrible.
You liked it in your video. Your video on it. I saw the video. You liked it.
You know what? Hey, when all you can do, when you cannot go down any further, when it is as solid as it can possibly be, I mean, what more can you do? You get excited, right? Because, well, you can't really go anywhere else. So, this was not bad. Guys, I'm going to give it to you real, this one should be, honestly, pretty quick. I like it. Genty, screw it. You know what? I was concerned. Who do we have to block for him? Colt Miller, you suck. I'm sorry. That's all there is to it. Power Jackson, good old Powers Johnson. I love you. You're the man. Why can't we have 4 more of you? I love it. Look, we got 2 bookends on the end for tight ends. We got some receivers. We got some more now. I absolutely freaking love. You could ask my wife. I love Jack Beach. I thought that was an amazing pick right there. The guy he's so damn underrated. I love him. The Porter pickup was great. I thought that was another solid. He was a sleeper in this draft. We had some big boys later on. Rogers and Grant. I get it. William and Mary. I get it. FCS. I get it. Rogers. Maybe not the best player in the league, but or in college football coming out in offensive line. But regardless, I love it. I love it. Dante Thornton Jr. Yes, I'll take him. This was pretty good. Tonka, seeing him again, another South Carolina dude. Watch him be a freaking stud. Look, there was a lot of dudes that we picked up today that I was like, you know what, man? Let's go. Even Lindenberg being our final dude. At the end of the day, we added some guys who screw it. At the end of the day, how could we get any worse? We're already the laughing stock of the freaking league. So you add Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll and I think Tom Brady both just got marked together at dinner, I think the night before the draft. And they were like, hey, you have that really nice yacht. Just go and just go. just go. Don't be around this draft. Go. And you know what? I'm glad because I think we had a good draft. Let's see what Carroll's got. We got Geno now. I wasn't really a fan of that, but hey, whatever. Now he's a part of it. Let's see what this team can do. Again, you got the Chargers who are pretty damn good. And they're a good team. I'm not going to hate on those guys. The Broncos are just getting better. Didn't have the best draft, but they're good. And you got the freaking Chiefs, who are the Chiefs. So again, what more can you do? Let's see. I got to be positive about this. I like what we did. Let's see. Ginty, let's see what you can do, bro. Hopefully you're not Josh Jacobs again and then leave in a couple of years. That's what I was thinking early on. But hey, at the end of the day, you know what? I got to be optimistic. Let's see what we got. All right, that's it. That's my spiel. I was trying to be fast there, but I really wanted to just go all out as fandom should. So, all right, Ricky, talk to us.
I'm about to say I was going to defer to Larry for the bulk of the Raiders stuff, but I love Ashton Genty, really solid player, and at least they don't have to trade any future capital to get him, which is big.
Yes.
And I like Beach and I like Darian Porter. The fun fact, since we're 3 now, we cover all things football. Raiders drafted Tommy Millett and Cam Miller, both quarterbacks that faced each other in the FCS championship game. The difference is this NFL Network had that, but Tommy Millett was drafted as a wide receiver, not a quarterback. So I'm very interested to see if he's like the next Julian Edelman type. Maybe Tom Brady kind of identified him as like his next quarterback turned receiver or something.
That's awesome.
Wow. Good.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That was a good nugget.
Yeah, that was fun. That was like a Snapple. Like that was fun. All right, Mike. How about your Snapple cap? What about you, good sir?
Well, Ricky actually stole my Snapple cap. I was actually
that's fine. That's 3 times.
Snapple stealer.
No, I really like the Raiders draft overall. They hit a lot of needs. They got good value throughout. They took 2 guys who I wanted for the Ravens, and Tonka Hemingway and JJ Pegas. On day 3, they got both of those guys. I wanted both at various times. But yeah, Tommy Millett and Cam Miller. I'm gonna go with Millett because I really don't know how to say that last name there, but 5,000 career passing yards and 4,000 career rushing yards in college. He was really that dual threat guy. He does not have the arm talent to be an NFL quarterback. That's why he's listed as a wide receiver. So he's going to be a really interesting gadget player. But Cam Miller, 45-11 in his collegiate career. Hey, look, if you're going to draft a quarterback, even if it's from an FCS school, hey, go with the guy who's got 45 career wins. I mean, I say also 10,000 career college passing yards. Not a lot of guys get to do that. So, 2 really interesting late round picks there for the Raiders. But I mean, I really like this draft. I thought it was great.
Right? Thank you. Yes, we're optimistic for the Raiders. Yay. I'm excited.
I gave it an A, Larry.
Thank you.
And I'm very curious to hear Cal's spiel on the draft. But this was a draft. You drafted a running back first, Gentry, great. You drafted a wide receiver second, great. He was the star of the Senior Bowl game, by the way. Then you drafted a cornerback, and then you drafted a guard, and then you drafted a tackle. So as you could see, you drafted in a different position in each round. So basically, I guess covering what you needed, and they're all good things to say about each player. So yeah, I like the draft, and I love it. I love Ashton Genty.
Thank you, guys. I'm happy. Okay, yes. Everyone's happy for me.
If you're happy, we're happy, Larry.
Thank you. And look, I don't get to be very happy for this team ever. So to be able to, guys, I wore my Raider shirt today. Yeah, I haven't worn that damn thing in forever. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm excited. You know what? Yes, let's go. Let's see what happens, man. Gosh damn it. Now, there's another team that I really don't like here, but there's a head coach that's pretty damn good. So, good old Harbaugh had himself a draft today, and there's the Chargers.
Another Harbaugh,
and let's just say Marion Hampton. You know what? Hey, this dude is pretty damn good. Trey Harris, he's pretty damn good. Jamari Caldwell, he's also pretty damn good. Kyle Kennard, he's pretty damn good. I'm just saying the Chargers, look, I don't know. And again, I want to hate on them so bad. I want to say that they had a horrible draft and they suck and they can freaking stop being a team and whatever. But you know what? It was a good day. I don't know. I don't see any negatives here. I hope you guys see some negatives. I'm really hoping. Don't let me down. Just kidding. But overall, guys, I can't be mad. I think they had a really good draft this year, and the Chargers got better. So please, someone tell me I'm wrong, but I don't know. Ricky, what you got?
To me, the interesting pick, we already talked about Hampton. Trey Harris is a smaller Quentin Johnson that can actually catch. Like that to me is like this is showing they've kind of given up on Quentin Johnson. They're drafting Harris that high.
Yeah,
he could be that next guy for Herbert. The guy I love is locally from New York City sports, Aronde Gadsden from Syracuse in the 5th round. He is a really underrated tight end. He was one of those security guys for Common Cord, and he had one of those interesting. He is a very good receiving tight end, helped in the run blocking game. Maybe becomes that guy for Justin. Maybe I'm not going to go. He's the Antonio Gates to Phillip Rivers comparison, but at least Justin Herbert maybe has a young tight end that he could grow with.
Very, very, very good there. Okay, I like that. Mike, what you got?
Really strong first 2 picks with 2 really good weapons, Omarion Hampton and Trey Harris. I was really hoping Hampton would fall to the Commanders at 29. When he made it past Denver, I was like, yes, come on. Oh, okay, it happens. Rest of the draft, decent, didn't blow me away, although one of my favorite names in the draft, Trequez Bridges, one of my favorite names in the draft there, but you look at these first two picks, and I gotta wonder. We've talked about all these other quarterbacks, and now they have these weapons. There's no more excuses. When are we going to start talking about Justin Herbert's excuses? He hadn't won a playoff game yet.
Yeah,
he's been there a couple times. When are we going to start talking about his excuses?
You are so freaking right. I didn't even get that. Yeah. You know what? Way to go there. Way to go. All right, Ralph, what you got?
I gave him a B+, but again, we go back to the Hallbarg situation. They know how to draft, and he was in college football all those years, so I'm sure he's got an upper hand on everybody with all these players. Omarion Hampton's a great player, going to be a great player. I'll talk about the kid from local kid from Pittsburgh, from the Panthers, tackle Branson Taylor.
Yeah.
He's 6'6", 330. He suffered a season-ending injury in Week 7. Now, if you remember back, the Panthers were 7-0. Now, I'm not saying this is why they were 7-0, and when this guy went down, they lost 6 in a row.
Oh,
so I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I'm just bringing that up. And
that's pretty crazy.
He was a good player. He's a good player. So I gave him a B+ for that draft.
Well done, guys. I mean, overall, you know what? It just goes to show you. I mean, hey. You can't always hate. I guess I want to hate really bad on them, but they did pretty good, guys. And you know what? Solid draft for these guys. So there's another team in Los Angeles, and these guys are some say that they're about equal, and some say they're worlds apart. But all right, hey, look at that, Los Angeles Rams in the house. All right, guys, the Rams. This was interesting. This year they went ahead and, no first rounder, traded out Terrence Ferguson. Some people really liked this. Some people actually really didn't like this. I was really on social media. I don't know. I was trying to see what was the problem. I liked him a lot. Oregon dude. Josiah Stewart. I also thought he was another freaking dog. And Jarquez Hunter. Those were the guys where I was like, okay, you know what? Solid. I've seen a lot of tweets that were really negative about this, guys. I don't know. What do you guys make of it? I thought it was pretty okay. It was an okay draft. But some people were like, why did we trade out of the first round? I don't know. So make some sense of it. I don't know. Ricky, what you got?
I think the Rams kind of were the Browns' plan, but actually as a contender. Because you think about it, you trade back. They were never, people thought they were going to take Dart. If you're getting a first rounder from Atlanta, you never were going to take Dart to begin with. I mean, let's be honest. So to get Ferguson and to get Jarquez Hunter, you add depth. And Ferguson is big because Higbee never stays healthy. So Stafford needs a tight end. So that to me makes sense. So I think offense is the big one because they've got so many young guys on defense. It doesn't matter. The key is next year. The Rams know, hey, we can win this division anyway. And now you had Atlanta's pick. So now you have 2, let's say, mid-tier ones. And if Sean McVay, if he's still there, believes in a quarterback that much, he can come up with those 2 ones and get whichever quarterback he wants next year. So the Rams kind of, while they are allergic to number 1 picks, they don't like them. They now have 2 of them. And I think they'll try to package that next year to get the quarterback that they want.
I can totally see that. What you got for us, Mike?
Yeah, I mean the trade with the first round pick kind of took them out of the draft a little bit. They did still have some picks, and they made some solid choices, throughout, addressed a handful of needs. It was good. It's not anything that is making me jump up and down and saying the Rams got markedly better. But Ricky brings
Yeah.
up a good point. Stafford is aging. I don't think Stetson Bennett is
No.
the future guy there for the Rams. So,
No.
maybe this was a combo. Yeah, let's get some pieces now, but let's trade up because Archie Manning is not the only prize potentially in next year's
Yeah.
quarterback class. In fact, if I recall, Ralph, Penn State's got a pretty good one that's going to
Drew
be getting
Aller.
a lot of attention
Yeah,
as
Drew
well.
Aller.
So there might be a couple of targets that some of these teams are going to look at next year.
Yo, agreed. Agreed. What you got for us, Ralph?
I gave him a B plus, and the player that stands out to me here is the third pick, Josiah Stewart from Michigan. They got him listed as one of the best defensive linemen in the class this year. So, being that they lost Aaron Donald even a couple of years ago, maybe they were looking for a replacement for him. So I gave them a B plus.
Yeah, and that's fair. It's fair. I mean, again, they did take themselves out with that first round, but they felt they didn't need it. Okay, let's see what they got. So, all right, time to move on over now. We're from a sunny, nice little place to another sunny place. Guess humid. Heading on over to Florida, South Florida to be exact. The 305, the Miami Dolphins, fins up. Okay, guys, this to me was. Like I said, I don't hate Kenneth Grant. I think he's great. It's just maybe they could have got. I know they're trying to fill the hole with Wilkins. I know he's on the Raiders. I'm really excited for that. He's healthy this year. Cool. But overall, guys, I don't know. I mean, some people really hated this. It was a head scratcher for me because I felt they could have done a lot of other things. But maybe this is it. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I'll tell you right now, the Savannah pick was pretty good. I liked that. Jordan Phillips, I thought that was pretty all right. But when it comes down to it, I mean, I don't know. I saw a lot of people as well. The Trader pick, I thought was a steal. I thought he was going to go way earlier, and Marshall as well. Another guy who I thought was going to go way, way earlier from Florida. So I don't know. Some people really thought that this was a really, really, really good draft. Some thought it was really crappy. Again, I like to scroll up and down and read what fans say. I don't know, guys. Some really liked it. Some hated it. I don't know. Your thoughts, Ricky?
I mean, Grant to me on the interior is going to be the talked about pick here. So I think he can help them. What I'm curious about is what they did at the end, and it kind of is a tale of which guy it actually is. Ollie Gordon in round 6. He's the guy from 2023 that looked like was going to win the Heisman as a preseason favorite this year, or is he the guy that kind of flamed out a bad offense in 24? At least him and A-Chain is going to be a fun 1-2 rushing attack. But if Shador wasn't the story was Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers should have stayed in school and got in the portal because I think he clearly would have benefited from going back to school. Yes, he gets drafted and it's great, but you clearly saw that a guy was supposed to be a top first or second round pick at the beginning of the year, drops all the way to almost being undrafted. Maybe that's a mistake. We'll see if Quinn Ewers can thrive behind Tua, but I don't really know if that's the answer necessarily.
Well said. No, agreed. 100% agreed. Mike, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, you could have a whole episode of 3 and Out alone on the drama that has gone on with Miami this offseason and how their draft kind of reflects them trying to solve those pieces. But I look to, I mean, we talked about it before we went live. Miami literally did not have defensive linemen on their roster. They only had like 2 or 3 guys under contract entering this draft, and you could see that was a need by them taking 3 defensive linemen, including Jordan Phillips from Maryland, who was a guy who I really liked, of course, being from the DMV. And also a safety from Maryland, Dante Trader. So maybe they're just trying to form a pipeline there from Maryland for some odd reason. But in any case, no, you could tell the focus was on the defensive line. And then Jonah Savanea out of Arizona, very curious offensive line prospect, has the size and length. Does he have the skill set? Does he have the developmental potential? Does he become a tackle? Does he get kicked inside to guard? They could certainly use a tackle after Teron Armstead retired. But I don't know if he's going to be the guy to solve that problem. That's going to be the key for Miami. And they traded up. They traded a third and a fourth to jump up in the second to get him. Awfully big trade for a guy who might solve your problem, might not. So that's going to be the big key to this draft class.
Lots of question marks. What you got there, Ralph?
Yeah, I didn't really see anything special about it. I gave him a B, but Kenneth Grant is probably their best pick, the number one pick that they did. But just to compound on what Ricky said about Ewers, I do feel that he's not going to start, but I do feel that he could learn a lot with Miami, with the coach there, because he's kind of an offensive minded type of coach. So he'll take his time to learn, and he'll be all right. So
Agreed. Good stuff all the way around, guys. I know, like I said, we're 2.5 hours in, so I'm going to really try to hurry up the rest of these. So we have Minnesota coming on up here, and, well, this was another one of those, okay, I see you, Donovan Jackson, beastie. I like it. You have Ty Felton. I thought this was the guy. I loved this dude out of Maryland. Mike talked plenty about this dude, Ingram Dawkins, another guy here out of Georgia. I mean, you get a defensive lineman and out of Georgia in the 5th round. Awesome stuff. Overall, guys, you know what? This to me was like draft day. We had a good day. I mean, hey, the Vikings did. I don't know. I thought they did pretty good. I liked this draft. Maybe you guys didn't, and I want to hear it. I want to know. I like it. I like the agree and disagree thing. It's fun. What you got for us, Ricky?
Well, again, when you only have 5 picks in this draft, it's really tough to necessarily put a good grade on it. But again, Donovan, what do you got to do for JJ McCarthy? Protect him with Donovan Jackson. Add a guy in Ty Felton. I won't talk more about Ty Felton because I've stole enough of Mike's guys tonight already. So we got to let Mike talk about Ty Felton. But nevertheless, good solid point. The Vikings have a strong foundation of a team, and just adding to it is only going to help McCarthy.
Exactly. What ways can you continue to help this guy? What you got for us, Mike?
Well, we talked during the pre-draft show during our mocks, and the one spot that was missing that they needed to fill on that line was that left guard spot, and they got that with Jackson, who will step in day one and secure that spot. You know, Ty Felton was one of my guys. I loved him throughout the whole process. Every time I saw a mock that had him going 5th or 6th round to like the Ravens or the Commanders, I was like, sweet, yes, I'll take that all day long. When he went at the end of the 3rd round, my heart sank a little because I was like, dang it, we're not going to get him. But no, very curious to me that the Vikings, with only 5 picks, which I believe was tied for the fewest in the entire draft with the Commanders, ironically enough, they weren't able to trade out and add some more picks, but the next 2 picks did. So I wonder what the conversations were happening. You think if any of those teams in the mid-20s would be open to, heck yes, we'll trade back to the early 2nd and get your 3rd and maybe a 5th or something like that, I would have thought it would have been Minnesota. So that's very curious to me that that's the way that worked out.
Wasn't that something? I know. Ralph, I'm curious to hear what you got to say about that, man, following these 2.
Well, I didn't see nothing special about their draft neither. But like Mike said, with 5 picks, you can't really delve into things. But on a local note, they did draft a Penn State linebacker, Kobe King, and they did draft a tight end from Pitt, Gavin Bartholomew, who was a big part of Pitt's offense, and he has the highest percentage of first down catches in NCAA. So I'm sure he'll help out there with that. So they draft, I gave him a C, but at least they drafted 2 local people that I talk about on my shows.
And that's cool. They did, you know what? Good for these guys, right? Fun stuff there. Good for the Vikes. Let's see, we got a comment up in here. So I'll tell you right now, we are gonna have ourselves a little bit of a treat with our next one. All right. Our next pickup. We got ourselves a dude by the name of Mr. Mad Dog, of course. I love this guy. Beantown Sports Bound. Catch this guy Wednesday evenings, man, talking all things Boston. Well, here we go, man. He's got us a little video for us here. Last one of the night, talking about his Pats. Let's see what he thought about these New England Patriots and their draft.
Good evening, 3-0. B Mad Dog here, host of the Beantown Sports Pound. Patriots got Will Campbell, 4th overall, then Henderson of Ohio State, then Williams of Washington State. We also got a kicker, baby. We got a couple guards. We got a linebacker, an edge, and much, much more. The Pats did really good, especially in offensive-heavy draft. The first 4 rounds, including the 69th pick. This is amazing. They finally draft good after all these years. Hopefully Kyle Williams is a deep threat we've been working for, what Tyquan Thornton was supposed to be. Our diamond in the rough Drake May has his protection, and we could have a potential Sonic Knuckles combo with Henderson and Stevenson of Ohio State. Gives even playing time and keeps the backs healthy. We got our offensive line all stacked, including the signings we made in offseason. Tune in this Wednesday, 7 p.m. for me to give my individual thoughts, but I'm really loving what we have. Woof!
That guy is something.
Oh, you gotta love
great.
him, man.
I love him. He's great.
Yeah, Brandon's a good dude. He's a funny cat, but I don't know. I couldn't help it. I was having so much fun freaking talking all the crap in the world the other day. It was kind of funny. I don't care. Look, diamond in the rough. Seriously, guys, I'm sorry. I know. Ricky's gonna hate me too. Drake May is cool, but I mean, come on, man. Like they're already talking about who's Brady. Like, stop, man. Really? Like that's what it feels like. Like, okay, bro. Like, chill. Look, is what it is. I see it. He can play. But anyway, I'm gonna pass all that. Look, overall, Patriots did pretty good, man. You got Henderson. That's a hell of a pick. Will Campbell, the emotion he had was amazing. I love what they have, man. Kyle Williams was solid. Jared Wilson. This is what I'm talking about, man. Look, the Patriots, I think they had a hell of a draft. I really do. I think they did pretty damn good. So that's my take on it. Ricky, what you got?
Will Campbell is a Mike Rabel kind of guy. If the only reason you not drafting him is his short arms, he can work on that. I think you're going to find a spot for him in the offensive line. Kyle Williams, like our Beantown Sports Fan host is saying, like good deep threat guy, and he did well without Cam Ward, which I think is a big help for him. To me, Mike Rabel still drafts like Bill Belichick. He takes kickers and long snappers. Why, I don't know, but they still do it for some strange reason. To me, and I love Jared Wilson. He's the replacement for David Andrews. Here's where the linchpin is. I love Trevion Henderson. Great running back. Good 1-2 with Stevenson.
Mm-hmm.
I think they needed Luther Burden more. I think if we talk about the Patriots in past years, missing out on wide receivers and guys they could have had, I feel like Luther Burden was a guy they could have had, and he goes 1 pick after Henderson. I like having it back, and I think they could have got one later. Maybe they could have got Dylan Sampson later or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like Williams is nice. I'd rather have Luther Burden.
You know what? Good. I could see that. I could totally see that. Good analysis there. What you got for us, Mike Pat?
I really like this draft because, at the end of the day, it's all about that unicorn of a quarterback up there in New England. The diamond in the rough quarterback up there in New England. And they did exactly what you do to protect to help them. You protect them and you give them weapons, and they did both of those. Ricky brings up a good point. Could you make the argument Burden over Henderson in that second round? Absolutely. I think that's a totally fair argument. I think they offset that a little bit by getting Kyle Williams, who's a dynamic receiver in his own right, I feel. And then Henderson, to me, you could probably argue was the most dynamic running back in this draft. Wait, I'm being called out here. Mike, you tried to give me something to whine about with that.
Oh, that was good. Oh, no.
Love it. But yeah, no, and I thought that's great. And then in the 4th and 5th round, just bolstering the defense with some really good value picks. Both Braden Swinson and Josh Farmer were projected 3rd round guys. Getting them late 4th and early 5th was really good. Fair point about the kicker and the long snapper. I mean, at least they got the best kicker in the draft. I mean, with the sixth pick in the sixth round, I mean, it could have been worse. I mean, look, the Ravens took a punter in the fourth round a couple of years ago. I can't really criticize anybody on taking
Right.
specialists. And then we took a kicker in the sixth round anyways this year. So, overall, really, really good draft by the Patriots. To me, it's a contender for one of the best.
Right? This was good. Good job for these guys. Ralph, end us off.
I gave him an A.
Yeah.
Like Ricky said, and I said it on the show the other day, that Mike Vrabel drafted his type of guy, and that's Will Campbell. That's Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
That's his type of guy. I feel they got a great running back also with Travion Henderson, and this kid Kyle Williams is it could be a deadly weapon for the diamond in the rough. And as I mentioned on the other show the other day, I think the first round pick there, Will Campbell, he had the best dressed. He was the best dressed of anybody in the draft that day. He looked like the Joker in that green striped suit.
He was looking sharp. He was looking sharp.
Real good.
Oh, he was, man. Well, I'll tell you, they had a pretty good one. Well, let's talk about a team that I honestly don't think had a good one really at all. I'm sorry. It's not that I don't think had a good one. They were okay. It's just I don't know. These guys. Okay, what do I say? It's not that I hated it. I didn't hate it. It's just the fact that, well, the New Orleans Saints might have had maybe a better one. Okay. Calvin Banks, cool. You probably could have taken Shedeur Sanders. I get it, but you don't have Derek Carr right now, bro. And Derek Carr, I don't even know. I mean, we've all been asking. He's been in the league for a long time, and we still have no idea if he's actually good. So you get a guy there. Okay, cool. I'll get us some protection. Then you go get Tyler Show. Look, I don't hate him. I think he's good, but I don't know. I mean, Sanders was there for you guys, all right? He was on mock drafts going to you guys. I don't know. At the end of the day, look, they had some good stuff here. And you know what? Here, I'm going to do this just so that way we're like not halfway through the show. We're actually way further than halfway, but I'm doing this so that way Ricky doesn't take any thunder from Mike this time. we're going to separate these two. They're going to get half and half going next. But at the end of the day, I don't know. To me, just take Shedeur. What the hell else do you have to lose? You were in cap hell forever. Now I don't know what's even going on with you. You should have just taken Shedeur. You guys are kind of dumb. I don't know. Whatever is what it is. Mike Pat, what do you got?
Well, they're still in cap hell. Let's clarify that. They're going to be stuck there for a couple more years at least. Yeah, this was a strange one. This was a strange one. I like Kelvin Banks. He was one of my favorites. To me, he was the best pass blocker in the whole draft, it makes some sense that the Saints would take him because both of their tackles are more run blockers than pass blockers. So there's balance there. But this is the third offensive tackle they've taken in the first round in the last 4 years. Like
what?
I mean, at some point, hopefully something's got to stick. Shoe, I don't get at all. I'm just going to be point blank with that.
Yeah.
Yes, I get the physical tool. 6'5", 220, he can move. Great. He also had some of the strangest throws at the combine that I've seen highlights of. He's also had some absolute boneheaded plays, which I get it. Rookie quarterbacks are supposed to have. Shoe's going to be 26 by the end of the year. Like, I get if you're a 21-year-old coming into the league, you're going to make bonehead plays. He's going to be 26. How much potential are we actually talking about here? And to take him in the beginning of the second, ahead of Shedeur Sanders, ahead of Jalen Milroe, like, I get it. If everybody falls and you take him in the fourth round, okay, cool. In the second, I didn't get the rest of the draft. Actually, wasn't bad, to be honest with you. The rest of it I thought was pretty good. Broughton's a good player. Sanker out of Virginia, another DMV school. He's a really solid safety, really good playmaker. But yeah, this was a weird one.
It was very, very Ricky, did you think it was weird, or are you going to make some sense of this? I don't know.
I think it definitely was weird. Look, Kelvin Banks, we clearly saw when he was out for Texas how different that offensive line was. I think Banks is like the safest pick for them there, as much as I think you can make the case for Shedeur. Look, Shedeur is not a Kellen Moore guy. And I think if you're going to talk about a mistake, maybe Jackson Dart should have been the pick at 9. And it would have been a little high, but Dart fits what Kellen Moore wants to do.
Yes.
Shuck to me is interesting because everyone's going to put on the tape and I'm like, oh, he played great against Cam Ward. Miami's defense sucks. Like, okay, he had 4 touchdowns. Great. Miami's terrible. Like, Kyle McCord did that, and Kyle McCord got picked in the 6th round. So if Shuck is okay, he's 26. He's going to compete, sure, but is that your future or is that what is it? I don't know. But nevertheless, that's their pick. 2 guys we didn't get into. Devin Neal from Kansas is a stud. He had great games against some great teams at running back. And for the local New York rate, Fadil Diggs, A&M transfer, best pass rusher on Syracuse last year, and they get him in the 7th round. So we'll see what he can do.
Good stuff there. What you got for us, Ralph?
So as a football fan, I didn't understand this draft at all. I didn't understand what they were doing. I thought for sure they were.
That's a great statement, Ralph.
I didn't understand why. Stop! I'm blushing. I didn't understand why they took, like we mentioned before, why they took the tackle at 9. Yeah. They knew they needed a quarterback because they don't know what's going on with Derek Carr, and then the fact that they draft Tyler Shaw with the 40th pick. I just don't get it. That's why I say the Giants had the best draft, because maybe they had their eyes on Dart, but they didn't trade up fast enough before the Giants did to get Dart. Mm-hmm. And he's 26 years old. Can you even call him a rookie when he plays?
Yeah.
And it says there they're comparing him to Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. I don't know.
Who the hell said that?
I don't know. That's where I'm reading it here. That's where they're comparing it to him.
Oh no!
Riddick's page.
And he had multiple injuries in his college career. So
I was gonna say, I think my wife, who doesn't watch football, could make a better comparison than that.
Guys, This okay. Well, we're done with these guys. Ralph, you got anything there, Ralph? Because this was
No. I gave a C- for their draft.
Yeah, and then
that's the lowest one out of all of them.
You're being way too
we'll
kind.
Get that.
We'll
get that out of the way before anything else happens.
Well, Ralph is a really nice teacher, giving good grades to people who don't deserve it. So you're a good guy. So with that said, we're gonna go on to a team. We got 2 teams from the Big Apple in a row. And, well, there's a guy that's from the area that's actually here tonight with us. You might know him. And he's going to start us off with these 2. But we're starting things off with the New York Football Giants. Well, this was, again, how do you screw it up? I don't even know. So, Ricky, start us off, man. How about these Giants?
Oh, Abdul Carter's great. I don't like that he wants to all of a sudden be Lawrence Taylor all of a sudden, like play it down the NFL first. But the guy is confident. You got to love the confidence in him. And he's a guy that kind of knew he was going to be a Giant and best pass rusher in the draft. So I love that pick, safe pick. You couldn't mess this up unless, well, Joe Shade, you never know. Jackson Dart. Yeah, Brent, I guess. Jackson Dart to me, look, I made it clear for the last few months on my show I'd rather have Shedeur with the Giants, but after the report that Shedeur didn't come prepared for the Giant meeting, I guess.
Right.
But here's the thing with Dart and why I agree with Mike. They didn't give up a lot. They had 5 picks in the top 100. They used it well. I'm just concerned when I heard draft night that Dart has Josh Allen traits. Can we stop comparing every quarterback Brian Daboll has to Josh Allen, please? Jackson Dart, I see a comp as online. Matt Miller had an ESPN as Bo Nix. I could see that.
He's a bad comparisons out there all over the place.
I can see it because he's a competitor. Number one, guy wants to win at everything. What I'm concerned about with Dart is he comes from a Lane Kiffin system that is get the first read or take off. I need to see Dart progress more. Now, at the same time, the best thing for him, don't see the field this year. Let Russell take the hits. Let Jameis take the hits and play in 26. It might not be great for Shane and Dable. It may not even be great for Dart long-term if he has another coach and GM. Mm-hmm. But for his development, it might be the best thing for him. So overall, it's okay. Darius Alexander with Dexter Lawrence, great. Their pass rush is awesome. They can't cover anybody, but their pass rush is awesome. The two best picks, Cam Scatterable from Arizona State.
Yes!
Him and Tyrone Tracy as a 1-2 is going to be so much fun to watch. Sorry, Devin Singletary, your time's done. But Marcus Embo from Purdue. They get this guy in the 5th round. Solid right tackle. And guess who he blocked for in college? Tyrone Tracy. So the Giants had Joe Shane. It might be his last draft, but if it is, it's not a bad draft. But it's going to be Dart. And look, I need to see Dart do it, especially against top SEC teams. He wasn't great. I need to see a little more. I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just not. I need to see more. That's all.
I'm sorry, that was good. I feel his last draft. No, you're totally right. Look, Scattaboo, great. I loved it. Dart, screw it. You got the dude there, is what it is. Abdul Carter, yes. We haven't seen Michael Tucker, Umanira in a long time there, okay? So I love it. Yes, this is awesome. I love what they did. Again, how can they screw it up? You can't do this. This was a Raider draft. You can't get any worse. So, I mean, hell, the best you can do is get a little bit better. So, Mike, Pat, what you got?
I am sad.
Damn.
Because this was an awesome draft by the Giants. And now I have to face, as the Commanders representative on our network, Abdul Carter and Darius Alexander, in addition to Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau, unless they trade him, please.
Yes.
Just give me some grace here. At least twice this year, maybe in the future for many years to come. I don't like it. And I have to deal with Cam Scatterbo too. Like this. Great draft by the Giants. Just great top to bottom. Great draft.
They called him a Plinko chip. Did you guys watch it today? They called him a Plinko chip. The little chip that goes ding, ding, ding on The Price is Right. That's what they related him to. They said Scattaboo is a Plinko chip. He's just ding, ding, ding off defenders all the way to the end zone. And then this lady was over there screaming like, oh my gosh. Like, they said, that's their head coach when he scores. It was funny. It was so funny. I'm sorry. That was great. Ralph, what do you got?
Well, like Ricky was saying, if this is the GM's final draft, Joe Shane, this he's going out guns a-blazing because I got the Giants as the best draft this year. I gave this draft an A+.
Yes.
Abdul Carter, of course, I followed him all year. Insane. Great player. The trade for Jackson Dart was so aggressive. They had to do it, and they did it. And like Mike just said, Alexander. Now you got Alexander Carter with Dexter Lawrence. If they screw this up, I don't see how it's going to. And Scattaboo was great. I think he was rated higher than some of the other running backs that should have been rated higher than some of the other running backs that went before him.
Dude is a beast.
A+, and I think they had the best draft this year.
Couldn't agree more. Well, Ricky's not done because we have another freaking New York team to go. And, I don't know who's the bigger dumpster fire, but, we're on to the next dumpster fire here. And, boy, this one's like a dumpster fire, but they're rolling downhill. The other one's at least on like straight. I don't even know what to say, but Ricky, the New York Jets, please help make sense of anything that they did. I mean, it wasn't bad, but again, they suck. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, I think when you look at the Jets, Aaron Glenn isn't about the sexy, big, noteworthy picks. I don't think he wants that. I think he wants to kind of quietly retool as much as possible. It was a big decision. The Jets passed on Bowers last year. I was hoping they would take Tyler Warren, but they clearly went with offensive line with Armand Membu, who played well in the SEC. And you look at this offensive line with Membu, Fashanu, Vera Tucker, Tippmann. They have homegrown essentially this offensive line, and there's a lot of continuity involved in it, which I think what Muji and company were going for. So I kind of like that they want to build through the trenches in that way and stick with that. Mason Taylor is great. It was good to see the emotion that his dad is Jason Taylor. His sister, I think, is Joy Taylor, by the way. But the dad, Jason Taylor. So at the same time, when you look at that kind of player, they needed a tight end to help Jeremy Ruckert. I think Mason Taylor does that. Azaria Thomas, the corner from Florida State, said when his interview today talked about yesterday being like Sauce Gardner, and I think he's a guy with a corner, great speed. They didn't really get an elite wide receiver. Arian Smith is more of a special teamer, which I think that means the Jets are going to try to go vet wide receiver in free agency with a couple that are out there. But nevertheless, I think this is a draft where Aaron Glenn just wants depth and wants those kind of pieces because they're a year or two away, and I think they know that with Justin Fields, but helping the offensive line and helping the tight end position, I think are going to go a long way in seeing what he can do. But a lot of the heavy lifting for the Jets could come down the road. But I don't think it's bad. I just don't think there's a lot of great in it. It's okay.
And that's a good way to put it. Membu was great, but the rest of it kind of balances out. Taylor and Membu, good stuff. The rest of it, I guess we'll see because, well, I mean, Smith was pretty solid. Thomas was good. But again, this is a team that needs like 2 more drafts today to be like competitor. I don't know what the hell is going on, but look, the Taylor pick, the emotion, I loved it. It was great. Mike Pat, what's up?
I mean, this was a very solid overall draft, I thought. Last year they got Olu Fashanu out of Penn State to shore up the left tackle spot. Now they shore up the right tackle spot with another first-round pick. Look, you can have too many first-round picks on an offensive line, but that number's not 3, which is what the Jets have. That is not too many first-round picks to have on an offensive line. So I think they're doing a great job building for protection, whether it's going to be for Justin Fields for the long run or a new quarterback in the near future. Mason Taylor, very good tight end. And apparently I was looking this up while Ricky was talking, the nephew of Joy Taylor?
Nephew,
saw nephew, and apparently Zach Thomas as well, former NFL linebacker. So lots of family stuff going on there. But that was a really good pick. Azare Thomas, Florida State guy, my Seminoles.
Yes.
Really good player. Some people had him in the late first round, so getting him in the third, really good. Overall, a really good draft. And I think, for the Jets, the key to the Jets, there was all this drama with Aaron Rodgers in the offseason and for the last couple off seasons. Just keep the train moving forward. Keep making your team better. Keep getting good players. Move past that. That's all you can do there, and just keep the train moving forward. And they did that.
They freaking did for sure. What you got for us, Ralph?
I gave them a B+, and I guess the Taylor kid's got some good genes in his family. But I actually thought they were going to go for a tight end. I thought they were going to take Tyler Warren because, as Ricky knows, being in the New York area here, a lot of the mock drafts out here they had him taking Warren. But I thought, hey, if this guy could solidify the line, like Mike Pat just said, that's a great pick. And other than that, because Justin Fields, that's who I wanted as the Steeler quarterback, but he's in New York now. So good luck to him. Hopefully it works out.
Good luck to the Jets because they're going to need like everything possible. So yes, well, there you have it, guys. We have 7 more teams to go. I promise I'm going fast because it is just after midnight now for all of you guys over there on the East Coast. So I'm going to roll through this, but Philadelphia Eagles, they have a formula. It's pick every single Georgia player you possibly can in the first round on defense. Well, guess what? This time they were like, we like you, Georgia, but we're going to pick a guy from Alabama this time. Regardless, that isn't not going to change anything. Ja Campbell, awesome stuff there. I mean, Bakuba, awesome stuff there. Hard-hitting safety. I haven't seen a guy from safety from there since Michael Huff. I mean, Nebraska, Ty Robinson, another monster. I mean, look, they're continuing to add depth. They look good. The Eagles are doing what the Eagles do. Damn it, they're probably going back to the freaking bowl this year, or at least the NFC Championship, because this team is really, 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 really good. Mike, what you got?
Really solid overall draft by the Eagles. Yeah, they decided to change it up. Maybe, there isn't a great Georgia player here. We're going to take an Alabama player instead. But they did get a Georgia player later on, a guy who I really liked at linebacker, Smail Mondon, guy who's got good speed, good instincts on the field. And, of course, also dipping into the DMV pipeline, which was apparently very active this year, with Antoine Powell-Ryland, defensive end, who was 3rd in college football in sacks last year behind 2 names that might sound familiar to the panel, Mike Green and Donovan Izuruwaku. So, and only half a sack behind those guys. So, not far off. This dude was incredibly productive. Also, Cameron Williams in the late 6th round was a great pick. I'm a bit surprised they didn't address edge and offensive line earlier. They did address them, and they did bolster the offensive line with multiple picks, but I would have thought they would have gone there a little bit earlier. That's the only thing that really shocked me here.
Interesting, right? So what you got for us there, Ricky?
Yeah, I was surprised that with the Chiefs trading up one spot and giving up pick 164 when the Chiefs would have taken the guy you wanted anyway. That was kind of weird in that, but nevertheless, like Jihad Williams is Jihad Campbell, excuse me, the guy that I think that could pan out. I think one of the guys I'm interested in Howie Roseman loves to take quarterbacks, and they went and got Kyle McCord in the 6th round. And I think Kyle McCord, I think we learned more about him at Syracuse than we did at Ohio State.
Yeah.
He was not good at Ohio State. He goes to Syracuse. You could say maybe a product of Pena and Gadsden and the Quint Allen. He was very good, over almost 48 passing yards last year. He went toe-to-toe with Cam Ward, as well as I said earlier, did a really good job. You saw some improvements with Fran Brown, and now he gets to learn under Jalen Hurts. That might be a really good solution for him, as you saw with Kenny Pickett. He's either going to pan out and play if Hurts ends up getting banged up, or he plays well and gets traded somewhere and helps his career. So I think it's the best spot Kyle McCord could have asked for.
Freaking right, man. What you got for us, Ralph?
Right, I gave him an A. Mike and Ricky touched on all the players there. I gave him an A, and I'll just say, as the champions of the NFL, they did a championship job on the draft.
And rightfully so. I mean, damn it, they got something going there. Let's see what these guys got. So this next team, the Steel City, is very close to one of our guys here. The final one to talk about there. Actually, no, we still have one more, because there's somebody here who has, well, 2 people have 2, but 2 are close together. So anyway, Mr. Ralph Calise, good sir, your Pittsburgh Steelers. Hey, these guys, lots of people had lots of crazy opinions, but I'm gonna let you get your crazy opinions out first. So what you got for these Steelers, man? What did you think?
All right, so of course, leading into it, as I mentioned before, I was looking for Shedeur Sanders. That's who I thought they were going to pick.
Yeah.
There was smoke being blown all over the place that the Steelers were going to take a quarterback. Again, listening to the outside people, which I always say on my shows, never do. You listen to the people inside the facility, because they're going to tell you what goes on.
Right.
And they asked Mike Tomlin today in a press conference on NFL Network. They asked him, how long, because as you could see, they drafted a lot of defensive guys today. Mm-hmm. They went back to old school Steelers and drafted defense. They said to Mike Tomlin, they said, how long did you think it was going to be before you decided that you were going to have to fix the defense? And his answer was, before I went to the bathroom after the Raven game. The playoff game.
Wow.
Okay. So right there in their minds, they had defense in their minds the whole time. Now, as far as Derek Harmon goes, he was their number 1 rated guy in that spot. GM Omar Khan said they went through all kinds of different mocks, and Derek Harmon and at least 75% of the mocks that they did wound up as their pick. And they weren't trading down. There was no thought of taking a quarterback. Because what's happening is I think they have a silent handshake with you-know-who, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, and it's been leaking out now that each of them have been saying that the talks with him lately have been good. It seems like he's going to come play for them. So that's the thing with Aaron Rodgers. So I was a little crazy at first because they didn't take the quarterback, and I didn't know what was going on. But then after the direction that they said after they drafted this kid, and they said, that they were looking for him the whole time, their whole demeanor for the draft changed. So they drafted him. They drafted Caleb Johnson from Iowa, which they needed another backup running back because they lost Najee Harris. And this kid is pretty good. Plus, he wore black and gold in college. Defensive line, back to defense. Ty Robinson in Nebraska. He's another hybrid athlete that they like. These are all defense. Jack Sawyer of Ohio State. They were already saying that Jack Sawyer could be the next TJ Watt. I mean, that's a little crazy to me, but I mean, and then Yaya Black from all defense. So go back to his comment. How long did it take you to think about the defense, fixing the defense after the Raven game? And he said, before I went to the bathroom. And he did it. That's what they did. They went all defense, and they drafted Will Howard. They drafted a quarterback. They got Will Howard from Ohio State. And, Will Howard, he won the national championship there with Ohio State. So I gave the draft a B plus after I really at the beginning I thought it was going to be a disaster.
It looked
It's going
good.
to be a disaster. But now the whole thing is who's the quarterback? Who's going to be the quarterback?
That's the.
I think he's coming. I honestly think he's coming.
Hmm.
I think he's coming. I think he's coming. As
Jack
Ricky
Sawyer.
knows what happened with the Jets and all, he's doing the same thing. He's doing the same thing.
It's a possibility, man. But Jack Sawyer, Steeler. The moment he ripped the flag away from the freaking player from Michigan that was going to plant it in the field, that was like, that's a badass.
That was sick.
I'm just saying, a badass. Anyway, sorry, I know we're after midnight over there, guys. So I'm going to try to finish up. But all right, what you got for us, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, this was a Steelers draft, just like, people were talking about the Ravens draft. It was a typical Ravens draft. This is typical Steelers. They stuck to their guns. They didn't panic. They didn't feel the outside pressure of taking a quarterback. I got to think, kind of to support Ralph's case, if Aaron Rodgers is coming to town, with being without a second round pick for that for the DK Metcalf trade, you're not taking a quarterback in the first round if Aaron Rodgers is coming to town. So to me, that kind of signaled the train there. But yeah, getting some beef with Derek Harmon and Yaya Black, big men up front. Jack Sawyer, typical Steeler player, and Caleb Johnson, really good pick in the third round, getting Caleb Johnson. Yeah, overall, really good draft by the Steelers.
Wasn't it good? So what you got for us, Ricky?
Yeah, Pittsburgh's got their Najee Harris replacement in Caleb Johnson. I really like this pick for them. I like their defense. Sawyer's a good leader for them. I'm going to disagree on Will Howard, and maybe I'm just a Will Howard hater. But to me, I think Will Howard's the product of Ohio State's wide receivers. To me, it's because you look at Will Howard at Kansas State. Will Howard is a good player. I don't think he's this great talent. A lot of what you saw at Ohio State was Jeremiah Smith making plays, or Buka making plays, or everybody around they had weapons galore. The running backs, that's a super team he had. You had to try hard to screw that up. That's why I think there's another quarterback coming. I think they took one to take one because between Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson.
No, they definitely had to take one. They had to take one.
You got to take a guy, but I am not sold on Will Howard as the future. I think he'll be okay. All the hype around him, like I said, I'd rather have Kyle McCord over Will Howard.
What's going on out there is they're banking on Aaron Rodgers coming, which if he don't, it's going to be a disaster. But that's a story for another day.
Cousins, it's either Rodgers or Cousins.
And then they're gonna go hard for one of the quarterbacks next year in the draft. That's the plan. That's what I see the plan is.
I could totally see that, man. Well, them Steelers got some things going there. But another team that may also have some things going, which we may or may not know, who knows, the San Francisco 49ers. Okay, again, I'm trying to be brief with these ones now, but you know what? Hey, Cale Williams, you couldn't screw that up, all right? I know Collins, another dude that he could have actually been a first rounder. Awesome job there. They went defense all day long. I know they lost Greenlaw, lost a lot of players on defense there. We're really trying to make this defense something a lot better than it's been. Overall, you know what? I thought it was another pretty okay draft. They got what they needed. There you go. Mike Pat, what you got?
Clear need on the defensive front, and they attacked it aggressively with 3 of their first 5 picks. Really 4 if you include Nick Martin, the linebacker, include him in the front 7. Incredibly defensive heavy. Got some weapons in there late, but to be honest, given the volume of picks and given just the assets that they had to work with, 4 picks in the first 3 rounds, several mid-round picks, I came away a little underwhelmed with this. I thought they could have done a little bit better. Yet they addressed the big need on the defensive line. Alfred Collins is a massive human being, but I don't know. It was good. I thought it could have been better.
Good. You know what? There you go. It's a little critical on the Niners. I'll take that. What you got, Ricky?
Malik Williams to me Mikael Williams, excuse me, great player. I think next to Nick Bosa, he's going to be a lot of fun there. I'm going to go offensively because we know defensively, like Mike said, they got a lot of depth. Jordan James from Oregon is going to be fun to watch with Christian McCaffrey. as kind of that complimentary running back. And I think Curtis Work is going to be a fun developmental project for Kyle Shanahan. We got to see what happens with Brock Purdy and his contract, but Work is a player. People are going to look at the bowl game against Notre Dame and that snow weather and hold that against him. But the guy battled a torn ACL the year before and is tough as nails. To me, that's a guy that I think we're interested to see how much Kyle Shanahan can develop him.
That's for dang sure, man. Good stuff there. Okay, what you got for us, Ralph, to finish this off for the Niners?
So real quick, just I gave him a C on their draft, and I heard that this was the Robert Saleh draft because being that he came back, they let him tell them who they wanted to draft because he's the defensive coordinator, and they needed to replace Nick Bosa. So that's what I heard about that.
The Niners have, I don't know, they're weird. 1 minute they're really good and looking solid and no needs, and the next minute they look like they need to, I don't know. They need all kinds of stuff. So crazy, but hey, there's another team in that division that loves to hate them, and they do it well. That is the Seattle Seahawks. These guys, all right. I mean, Gray Zabel, one of my favorite picks of the entire amazing job here. You need a guy up there at the guard position. They addressed it. Another dude, safety, Minwari, a guy that I absolutely loved in college. Another South Carolina stud. Yes, what? There he goes. Arroyo. Hey, we know that Miami played cupcakes, but this guy, okay. Hey, he's actually pretty good. Milroe. This was another question. I mean, what do we get here? Riley Mills as well, defensive end out of Notre Dame. Milroe. You know what? I want to hear what you guys got to say about him first. So, what you got for us, Mike?
Another draft kind of up and down. I really did like the first couple picks there. Zabel, Emanwari, Arroyo is going to be a nice tight end. I think they're anticipating Noah Fant moving on after next year. Hence, that's why you draft not one but two tight ends. And also, Fant has only had one touchdown in the last 2 seasons. I learned that in the pre-draft process. So, yeah, maybe you do need a little bit more help there. But the Milroe pick, kind of out of left field. You went out and you got Sam Darnold. You signed him to a 3-year deal. Now you're gonna take a quarterback in the late, and instead of finding more help for him, which I mean they did all right in finding. You're gonna take a guy in the late third who's going to sit behind him for those 3 years. But Milroe's a project guy. He goes to a team that has a defensive-minded head coach in Mike McDonald, who has his only quarterback experience at the pro level has been Lamar Jackson and Geno Smith. Jalen Milroe is neither of those guys. He's a different quarterback altogether. So I'm really curious to see how it works. And then got a couple of interesting pieces on day 3. Torrey Horton out of Colorado State, pretty good receiver. Damian Martinez, running back out of Miami. I think he's going to be a good pick, although they already have Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. So don't know how much he's going to help. But yeah, just kind of up and down for me on Seattle.
Right? They were just another one of those weirdos. But what you got for us, Ricky? What do you think about it? Do you agree or disagree with that?
I think when you look at Seattle, 11 picks, you got to improve the depth any way you can. And I agree with Mike on Torrey Horton. When you watch Colorado State play Colorado the last couple of years, Horton was the one standing out on tape outside of Travis Hunter. He was making big plays galore. And to me, he could do that with Seattle needing some help at wide receiver. Arroyo, I like, could be a big game changer. I don't mind. I think I was shocked Milroe went ahead of Sanders. But considering, look, Sam Darnold's going to be the guy for at least the next 2 years. I don't know about 3. I got to see Darnold do a little more. So if Milroe can learn, McDonald, like even Mike said, it was at least didn't coach him, but it was around Lamar and kind of can know what a development plan looks like. And in the meantime, we know Milroe can be that gadget guy on third down. They can pick up a first down and can run with the football. Maybe they put some plays in for him there. It's not a bad situation to be in, but I was still surprised that Milroe got picked before day 3.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was kind of I don't know. It was very random. What you got
it's
for
not Dylan Gabriel, but it's not. It's okay.
No, totally agree with that. Very out of left field. What you got for us, Ralph?
Real quick, I gave him an A. I thought it was an excellent draft for them. The first pick, Zabel, like the guys were talking about, great pick. Amori, even a better pick for them at safety. And just going down the line here, they drafted a lot of needs. Very solid draft for the Seattle Seahawks, in my opinion.
Yeah, again, they couldn't really go wrong here. And you know what? Overall, solid draft for these guys. So next up, we have 3 more teams to go, guys. Almost to the promised land here. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a team who has really they've been something the last couple of years. We're trying to figure out what that something is, but they've been okay. Making some solid victories here. But let's see how this draft was for these guys. So overall, look, Tampa Bay went out first round, Ibuka. Look, Ibuka, we knew he was going to be a stud wherever he goes, and now he's going to be with some awesome wide receivers. Oh my gosh. I mean, how about this wide receiving core? The Buccaneers are going to be playing that aerial attack like crazy. I love Benjamin Morrison. This guy I thought was a very underrated corner. I love that they got him there, as well as Parrish. They got another dude there. 2 corners that they really felt they needed to address there. Overall, you know what? The rest of the draft, it was some stuff they feel they can maybe get some depth on or whatever. But regardless, those first 3 picks, I loved it. You know what? Good for them. I'll take that for the Buccaneers. Not, I don't know. They got what they needed. But the wide receiver, Ibuka, first overall pick for these guys, freaking score. There you go. Mike Pat, what you got?
Really solid picks overall by Tampa here. Ibuka, going to be a nice piece for them. Mike Evans getting a little bit older. They dealt with injuries last year. Always good to have more weapons. Ben Morrison and Jacob Parrish really going to solidify the secondary for them, I think, a lot earlier than people would expect. Really interesting last pick, Tez Johnson out of Oregon. Not many 154-pound players in the NFL, so really curious to see how he gets utilized. Hope they don't put him on a crossing route over the middle at any point during the first season, because a linebacker's just gonna demolish him. But overall, pretty solid. Not the best in the league, but I think it's going to keep them moving forward. Look, this is a division that there's no dominant team. Tampa won it last year. I think this draft can keep them in good spot to repeat.
So you're saying that they drafted Emmanuel Forbes, right, in the first round, in the 7th round there?
They drafted a guy who was 12 pounds lighter than Emmanuel Forbes. I didn't know that was possible for an NFL player to get in lighter than Emmanuel Forbes.
That's crazy. That was crazy. What you got for us, Ricky?
So not a big draft for the Bucs, but good quality with Luka from Ohio State. I'm going to talk more about the Morrison pick. It's an interesting pick, and I know we talk about picks with emotion. If you go back and watch the phone call that Benjamin Morrison had when Todd Bowles called him to make that pick, Morrison's father shared the same defensive backfield as Todd Bowles.
Oh, crap.
So this is so there was a lot of tears and a lot of great things. Todd Bowles even said, "Tell your dad I said hi." So it really good pick. And Morrison, if he was healthy, I think would have been a first-round pick. So really cool to see those kind of stories, and hopefully he has a great career.
Yeah, right. I love that. Way to end that one well. All right, Ralph. End us off here. What you got?
Gave him a B+. Ibuka is going to be great, like you said, with the wide receivers that are there in Tampa, and Baker Mayfield's got a new toy. And like Ricky said, the stories that come out in the drafts for the kids and the picks and who's involved. It's just, hey, it's football. It's great stories. There's more stories behind the picks than we actually know what's going on. That's what it is.
And that is what you gotta love, right? So the Buccaneers, hey, that's what they did. But the first overall pick goes to the Tennessee Titans. And well, the Titans, look, I just give this a great grade because they couldn't get a worse grade. I'm sorry. Again, they're just like the Giants. They couldn't get worse. They can only get better picking up some dudes. Cam Ward, hey, we'll take him overall, right? Aldejo, another beastie dude out of UCLA here. Guy, I think was a great pick. Winston, a Penn State guy there for you there, Ralph. Overall, look, man, this was good. Now, please take these players, do something with them, Titans, because you've done nothing for a long time. Even when you were the first overall seed, they were deemed the worst first overall seed ever. Remember that a couple of years back when they were. So I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying the Titans are. Yeah, they're even when they're good, they're a joke. So I'm just saying, please do something. I don't know, but this was a good draft. Let's see what they do with it. Mike, what you got?
Look, it had to be Cam Ward, number 1 overall. You know, you have a head coach who started last year. You have a GM started this year. Will Levis was neither person's guy. The writing was on the wall for him. Had to be Cam Ward. Initially there was I like Oladejo and Winston, 2 good defensive players, but there was initial shock of, okay, you got your guy, now you give him help. But Tennessee told everybody, hold on, pause, don't jump on my throat yet. And then they committed all 3 of their 4th round picks to weapons for their new guy. Got him an interesting offensive lineman late, but they had already bolstered the offensive line through free agency and also the draft last year. So the offensive line was already in the making. This was a good draft. I mean, they made the obvious pick they had to make, and then they helped them while also simultaneously helping their defense. I thought it was good.
Wasn't it something? Right, Ricky, what you got?
Well, when Tennessee got veteran offensive linemen in free agency, you kind of knew this was the pick already. So it's no surprise. As much as teams try to trade up, they were going to take him. And I agree with Mike, getting those guys late. Yolenor is interesting. He could go up and make plays, especially in coverage. Like, that's a guy that can make any type of tough catch from Stanford. What's interesting also, not only they gave Ward help, but if you go to the undrafted free agents that are out there, they also got Xavier Restrepo, who's Cam Ward's teammate at Miami. So adding another player that might be able to help him in his transition to the league. Tennessee did a decent job here.
They did. They really did. End us off, Ralph.
Definite A for them. First pick in the draft. They drafted as a first pick team would draft through the draft. And the one fact that I love is we talked about it before with Lawrence Taylor. Warren Moon unretired his number for Cam Ward, so he can wear number 1.
That's pretty cool.
I thought that was pretty cool, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Hey, let's see what
Lawrence Taylor's not doing it for Abdul Carter, but
hell no. Hell no, he's not. No, he's not a crazed dog yet, okay? So I'm just saying, but all right, gentlemen, we have freaking made it to the final team. I know it's like 12:30 over there for you guys, but here we go. The final team. They wear burgundy. This man is stretching right here beneath because he is ready to. Oh yeah, he's ready. We're getting the montage running through. He's doing the Rocky thing on the hill right now. Yeah, he's ready. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, none other than the Washington Commanders. Mr. Mike Pat, your favorite part of every single draft show. Take it away.
So you start with the first round pick, Josh Connerly Jr. Now, I really like Josh Connerly as a prospect. I thought he was a very good offensive line prospect. I'm curious about the fit here because Connerly only played left tackle in college, right?
Oh.
But the Commanders just traded for a left tackle in Laramie Tunsil. So he's not going to start over Laramie Tunsil. So that's going to have to shift him to the right side more likely than not, which is going to shift last year's left tackle Brandon Coleman, who had already been shifted to the right side inside to guard. And now you've kind of got this jumbled thing. Look, it's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have those extra offensive linemen, especially those pass blocking offensive linemen. An interesting fact, what did everybody talk about when they drafted Connerly? Every clip they showed was the clip of the Penn State game where he went toe-to-toe with Abdul Carter and did not allow Carter to get a single pressure in that whole game. I think it was Carter's worst game of his senior season, and Josh Connerly was the guy. Of course, the other clip they showed was Connerly getting bulldozed by Mike Green at the Senior Bowl practices, but, that's neither here nor there. But, Overall, like I said, can't have enough offensive linemen, so not mad at the pick. Love the Trey Amos pick in the second round. They needed a boundary corner. I think he could step in day one and easily be one of the top guys. Really like the Jalen Lane pick, obviously not just because he's Virginia Tech, but because he's the type of receiver the team didn't have in that kind of speedy, quick utility special teams guy. And one of the guys we've talked about, get the ball in their hands and then let them go. And then two really interesting late day 3 picks. Kane Medrano, really speedy linebacker out of UCLA, probably a special teams guy to start. And then Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, who I had to do some research on because I did not know the name, and he didn't play football last year, which makes the pick even more interesting. But an interesting young running back to work with as well. I don't love that we completely passed on edge rusher. Probably could have used some help there. And they addressed most of the other needs. Also, I would have liked to see them. I know, don't draft a kicker, but look, we had the 29th pick of the 7th round. If you're going to draft a kicker, that's probably the pick that you use it for. I would have liked to have seen them finally solidify that position, which did cost us 2 games in 2024. So, but overall, I liked it. Wasn't a bad draft. They did some things to help out Jaden Daniels. We'll just see how Dan Quinn puts it all together.
I mean, honestly, dude, I don't even know. I know. I like how you're critical. You're like, you know what? No, I think they freaking knocked it out of the park. Last year, the Commanders, look, they surprised everyone. I think they surprised themselves, honestly. I mean, this
100%. 100% surprised themselves.
They were in the AFC and the NFC Championship. Like, wait, what? Wait, where are we? Like, they didn't even think. Okay, so Connerly, beast. I love the Carter deal there. I didn't even know that. Awesome. Amos, amazing. Lane, loved it. Medrano, loved it. I don't even know. You're right. Krosky Merritt. I don't even know who that is out of Arizona, but I freaking love it anyway because damn it, why not? This was awesome. They did their thing. Let's go. Washington did their thing, and let's see them contend this year. So, what you got for us, Ricky?
Yeah, I think it's another one. You only have 5 picks. It's quality. Trey Amos to me is quality. When you look at a player in the SEC that did well on the defensive back side, this is a player that I think would have been great if the Jets were able to get him in this early second round. They weren't able to do that. To address Mike's point, I was reading a thing from Sam 48 of the Post. Lance Newmark to some GM said they're looking at veteran free agents. Maybe they look at the pass rush and free agency, what's left, and try to add there. But to me, Connolly's interesting. Look, you can never have enough offensive linemen, especially enough larger dudes. So to have Connerly with Tunzel, it's not a bad problem to have. And I think when you look at the Commanders, it's about they went all in this year in free agency, and maybe some of these picks can help. But we'll see which ones contribute to a ready-made team.
So freaking true. Finish us off there, Ralph.
I gave it a B+, arrows up on all the picks, and like Mike said, you cannot that problem with the shifting of the linemen, because my team went through it last year. It's only a good thing if you have players that can fit in and cover each spot. So yeah,
exactly.
B+.
Well, there it is, guys. All freaking 32 teams done. It just took 3.5 hours. That's all, but it's all good. Well, we are almost out of here. However, we got to get this final little thing out the way. And well, this is pretty much it. So we're going to go around the board. This time going that way, or however you want to go. So here we go again. Mike, start us off, man. Give us your, and I know we're going winners and losers, but give me your favorites, maybe your least favorites. Overall, who is your all-time favorite, maybe, and least favorite draft of this draft? And of course, down there, make sure to follow him down there, guys, on this roll.
So I'm going to give you 2 favorites, and I'm excluding the Giants because Ralph has already expressed that they're one of his favorites. I really like them, but I'll leave that for Ralph. I'll talk about somebody else. I'm going to go with Kansas City in my favorites. Look, for a team to have that late of a first-round pick, crush it, and then crush pretty much all of their subsequent picks. I mean, again, I look back at their draft. I don't have a problem with any of it. I don't see how they missed any of it. I think they nailed it for having such a late a pick. And then also right behind there, so I guess technically they'd be in third place because the Giants would be ahead of them. I've got New England. Look, no team did more to help their young quarterback than the Patriots did, getting him protection, getting him weapons. And then they crushed some good value late. Yes, yes, they drafted a kicker. Yes, they did. Yes, they drafted a long snapper. Very strange decisions there. But when it comes to the key of your franchise is your quarterback and protecting that key, they did the best job of any team in the draft, in my opinion, doing that. So I've got New England and Kansas City there. And then for losers, there are a couple. A lot of teams we talked about were kind of in that middle group, but there are a couple that stand out. I'm going to put Cleveland on this list.
Wow.
That trade, and mostly because, and this is a key aspect, Cleveland is a no-nonsense city, all right? Or at least they're supposed to be. They're kind of a tougher, gruffer, dog pound, historically a defensive city. This is a team that you would think would like to avoid drama, right? And especially given the Deshaun Watson debacle, you'd like to think that they probably want to keep it as quiet as possible. And they maybe had the loudest freaking draft you could possibly have with that trade, with drafting Shedeur Sanders. This team, for some reason, has decided to put themselves in the spotlight of the NFL world for a team that is probably still going to finish last in the division, that is still going to have a very bad year. And now you're going to have Deion Sanders talking about it every week. I don't know about that strategy there. So I'm going to put Cleveland down there. And then I'm also going to put their division mate, Cincinnati. I did not think it was a good draft. I think they got some good players. I don't know how they didn't address the secondary, which is mediocre, and I don't know how they moderately addressed the offensive line. To me, those were their two biggest needs entering the draft. They didn't hit either, and they did a pick in Shamar Stewart that helps them for the future. I mean, he'll probably help them now, but in the event of Trey Hendrickson, they got Joe Burrow, they got Jamar Chase, they got T. Higgins. This team should be trying to win now.
Thank you.
I don't know how they don't address the secondary. I don't know how they half address the offensive line. I don't get that one at all. And especially with the drafts the Steelers and the Ravens had in that same division and the free agency that they had, which was none. It was not a good look for Cincinnati for me.
Money.
I love it. Mike going in here at 12:30 his time on a Saturday. Don't give a Sunday, actually. Don't give a crap. I freaking love it. All right. Well, that's going to be kind of hard to follow. Ricky K, give it to us. What you got?
Well, I'll go two different teams because New England would have been one for me, especially with Josh Farmer being Christian Barmore, maybe the next kind of guy. I'm going to say my winner is the Bears. When you get Colston Loveland, who is going to maybe who knows, maybe he's next. Well, Jimmy Graham wasn't the Jimmy Graham in Chicago, but maybe something like that. And I think adding Luther Burden, I think could end up being one of those things you look back and say Luther Burden was a second-round pick. I mean, you look at past second-round picks and wide receiver history in recent years, Burden could be that kind of guy. And I just think you look at the Bears, they've added the pieces that Caleb Williams needs to be successful. Now he's got to go do it. So I love what Chicago did there. The losers, I'm going to go the Saints. And I think it's Derek Carr. It's Derek Carr panic. I mean, would this have done if Derek Carr wasn't going to be out for the year potentially? Who knows? Or what's going on there with Spencer Rattler, Jake Hander? Now you throw Tyler Shuck in there. It's the island of misfit toys of quarterbacks. They just don't really know. Like now I have to compare Tyler Shuck to Archie Manning. Like, come on. Like, that's the guy I'm going to now throw in that mix as the next Saints quarterback drafted in the first two rounds. Get out of here. Saints are going to be looking for another guy, and this is the guy Kellen Moore wants. I don't know. But to me, Saints well behind the pack.
I'm sorry. That was good. Okay, I gotta stop. I'm sorry. That was great because this is true. Why is this true funny? That's what comedians do. They say true things and it's funny. Okay, anyway, what you got?
All right, so real quick, as I did it during the show, Giants best draft, Saints worst draft, and my favorite pick of the draft, of course, is going to be a homer pick. It's Derek Harmon. I'm sorry. I just have that soft spot in my heart for the kid, and it's. I can't wait to go to camp, and then hopefully I meet him. I just don't want to just hug him.
I love it. No, I love it, guys. I'll tell you right now. I just, I love it. Okay, so for the sake of repeating anything, man, because I would love to have said a lot of what you guys were saying. I mean, obviously, I love every one of the favorites. The worst, I'm gonna have to double up on the worst. I'm sorry, but So for lack of being redundant with everybody, damn it, the Eagles. Hey, look, they're champs, and they went and got more champ stuff. I mean, that was it. I mean, that's what they did. They're the top of the NFL, and they just went and got more stuff to keep them at the top of the NFL. I mean, what more do you do? So I love it. They did amazing. But yeah, the losers are combined. I'm sorry, the Saints. You are the wow. I mean, absolutely terrible. You could have done something to improve, and they did nothing to improve. And then obviously the good old Cleveland Browns. I mean, how can you get any worse? Well, hold my beer. I mean, that's exactly what they did. The Cleveland Browns, I'm sorry, but you guys did something really stupid. And if you ever want to wonder why you're not winning, well, the mirror's right there. I mean, what more do you do? So good stuff there, gentlemen. That was a lot of fun. I love this here, by the way. We have a request in the private chat over here, so I have to. So let's go around one more time. Least favorite pick. Mike starts off.
Least favorite or favorite book?
Least or favorite?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Least favorite. I'm sorry.
Favorite.
Yes. Yeah.
Favorite.
Yes.
So my favorite pick of the whole draft, I've actually been thinking about this since Ralph said it, Derek Harmon, and this one's going to be an oddball one, but I really like it, and I think it fits perfectly for what the team needed, and it completes one of their units perfectly. I'm going to go with Donovan Jackson to Minnesota. I think, like I said, you look at that offensive line, they had one spot that you could argue was maybe average or below average, and that was that left guard spot. And Donovan Jackson comes in and he instantly makes that spot better, and to me gives Minnesota the best, one of the best, probably I'll say top 3 offensive lines in the NFL. And for Jake McCarthy, that is what you want in front of you, is one of the top 3 offensive lines in the NFL. Yes. So for my favorite pick, I'm going to go with Donovan Jackson to the Vikings.
That is a great freaking pick, Mike. All right, what you got for us, Ricky?
My favorite pick, I've already said Luther Burma to go being a little bit different. Jaden Higgins, 34 to the Texans. They get a 3rd-round pick next year, and they get basically another Nico Collins. So good job by C.J. Stroud. Least favorite pick, just for the hell of it, let's just pile on Dylan Gabriel some more. Like I said, when I was watching the draft, and I just started putting in the chat, I said something's up in the NFL, because I don't know who the heck watched the Rose Bowl and said, I want that guy.
That's usually a Raider thing. So I'm glad it wasn't the Raiders to do that, because that's what the Raiders do. Who's the worst you have? We'll take him. Like that. That's usually what we do. So, okay. What's up, Ralph? What you got?
Well, I gave my favorite pick already. That's why it came up in the chat probably. Of course, it was Derek Harmon. If I had a least favorite pick, I would have to say the guy on New Orleans, the lineman Banks. There was not because of the player that he is. He just shouldn't have been there. Actually, he shouldn't have been there.
Yeah, you guys are so stupid. Like, Saints, you are stupid. I don't even care. Sorry. Fight me. Okay, I'm going to put a twist on mine. I'm going to go favorite things, because there were 2 things in the first round that happened, and I'm going to go with one being a favorite, because you'll see. So, favorite overall, I guess it has to do with the 2 players, obviously, the Falcons. Walker going first, and then after that, Pierce. There was a trade that was made. It was a favorite thing of mine because they gambled. they're going to be a scary team. They got Penix now. They got a pretty good team. Let's see what they do with it. The Falcons are going to be a lot of fun to see this year. So to me, that was fun. They got 2 defensive guys. You know me, I can't help but to be giddy when you talk about some defense. I love it. Least favorite. What the hell are you doing, Browns? That was the stupidest trade I think I've ever seen in the history of trades. I mean, like, why would you do that? I'm sorry. Where's Jen?
I was just gonna say that. I was gonna say, poor B. Where is she?
Poor Jen. She's asleep right now. She's asleep. She's asleep, just like the Browns' chances of making the playoffs. I mean, I guess this. Wow. I'm sorry.
Does she have a show tomorrow?
She does, and I will write to her before her show and tell her I'm sorry. But yeah, they are terrible. But with that said, guys, oh my gosh, that was fun. Oh my gosh, I love doing that. That was a freaking fun show.
3 hours and 45 minutes.
I mean, we're on our way to 4, but guys, it was fun. Thank you for staying up. I know it's freakishly late for you guys, and wow, that was a lot of fun. But I'll tell you guys, that was a fun show. Thank you for being a part of us. With that said, Mike, Pat, any last comments? Anything you want to throw for us today?
No, it was a fun draft. I loved all of the trades that started day 2, day 3, everybody hopping all over. It was interesting. The Commanders traded up a couple spots in the 4th round, and I still have not been able to find the details of that trade. I don't know what was traded. I don't know how they did it. They kept all of their picks, so they didn't trade their 6th or their 7th. I have no idea how. Maybe whoever had that pick just gave it to them out of courtesy. I don't know, but that was my one oddity. Is I was searching everywhere. I could not find the details of this trade.
What did you give up?
Yeah.
Ricky, anything you want to add before we're out of here?
Just good thing for the players. Congratulations on starting your journey. It's only the beginning, and time to see what you do in minicamp and all those things. We talk about players like that get picked a little bit later. Well, now you get a chance to prove that you should have been picked higher.
And that is exactly talking to you, Shador Sanders. Anyway, Ralph, what you got?
Hey, like I've been saying the whole show, life is a full circle, and all you gotta do is look at that poor kid in Pittsburgh getting picked. Go watch all the videos or whatever. It's really sad. But yeah, I agree with Ricky. Good luck to all the players. Congratulations on being drafted. They'll be starting a new chapter in their lives, and good luck.
That is the truth. Well, for Mike Pat, Ricky K, Ralph Calise, and me, your boy Larry B, it has been fun. We are signing off. Big shout out to our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals, Planet Jerky, Vital Apparel. Make sure you give us a follow all over the place. We will see you guys coming up very soon for the schedule release. More details on that to come. For all of us here at IE Sports Radio, we will see you next time on 3 and Out. Until then, take care. And as always, God bless. Peace.